Chapter 265. He could freely enter the 9 floors of the scripture tower. Lu Daochen was the only one who had finished reading hundreds of thousands of ancient books. That was how he got his name. There were 1,079 demon characters on the first floor, most of which were the simplest characters. From the second level onward, the number of words recorded in each level decreased, but the difficulty increased. From the 8th level onwards, Ning Fan had already flipped through almost all of the 7,000 demon characters recorded in the Demon Codex. There were even some special demon characters on the 9th floor. There were the words of dragons, phoenixes and sparrows. All of them were the true spirit demon characters. With Ning Fan's experience, he could tell that the true spirit demon characters not only had complicated formation lines, but also required the true spirit bloodline of the clan to learn them. Thus, he could only learn about 7,000 normal demon scripts. All the way to the 9th floor, no one stopped him, until a fragrant wind blew past his face and turned into a charming lady in green feather robe. She stepped in front of Ning Fan and stopped him from reading any scriptures related to the demon language. Have you seen enough? General Liu Bei. Demon concubine Wu Yan. Oh, isn't the demon concubine staying in the Misty Rain Tower to reject guests? Why did she come to the scripture tower? Ning Fan withdrew his hand and secretly activated the yin-yang locket. Coincidentally, the monster concubine's heart was in a mess. She was thinking about the Spirit King Palace's purple concubine coming over. Just like that, Ning Fan was able to pry into the great secret of the woman's heart effortlessly. Spirit King Palace. Imperial Concubine Z. Judging from concubine Wu Yan's mind, there were at least 10 demon concubines who had come to Luo Yun for the Star of the Heavenly Arch. Only Divine Transformation Realm female demons can be promoted to be the demon concubine of the Spirit King Palace. This means that there are at least 10 Divine Transformation Realm female demons here. These are the best cauldrons. Unfortunately, as soon as this thought arose in his mind, it was immediately extinguished by Ning Fan. Similarly, he had seen through the demon concubine's mind how terrifying the Spirit King Palace was. If he were to snatch the demon concubine from the Spirit King Palace, the Spirit King would be enraged and he would be able to flatten the Rain Domain. However, the Spirit King seemed to be injured. In the Yao concubine's memories, the Spirit King had not left his residence for tens of thousands of years. No one knew the extent of the Spirit King's injuries. Only the concubines close to him could enter the Spirit King's seclusion palace, such as Imperial Concubine Z. However, even Imperial Concubine Z and the others had never seen the Spirit King's face. Ning Fan remained silent. Unless he had a method to secretly abduct Imperial Concubine Z and the other women without anyone noticing, he must not act rashly. There was no such thing as fear in his mind. As long as he could think of a possibility, he would dare to snatch the Spirit King's demon concubine. He would dare to do things that no true spirit demon race dared to do. Ning Fan did not notice that when he was deep in thought, his eyes were inadvertently looking down at the demon concubine in front of him. His gaze fell on her proud and delicate breasts. The Yao concubine's pretty face was slightly angered. She thought to herself that although Liu Bei appeared to be well dressed, he was actually so frivolous. He dared to stare at her breasts. How rude! Why have you summoned me here? Concubine Yao's tone turned cold. May I ask how much you know about Demon Commander Lu Daochen and Demon Commander Lu Wu? And how much do you know about the Star of the Celestial Emperor? Yao Fei was so angry that she laughed. Was Liu Bei an idiot? Why should he tell Demon Marshal Lu Wu and Lu Daochen what he knew about Lu Daochen? There was no way he would share the information he had gathered on the Emperor's Star with outsiders. Why should I tell you? Ning Fan did not answer her. Instead, he held his chin again and fell into deep thought. Using the mind-reading technique, he could immediately find out what she was thinking about. The Yao concubine did not have to say it out loud. However, when Ning Fan asked her a question, her heart would naturally give her an answer. Lu Daochen was indeed wholeheartedly trying to save Lu Wu. He even had 3 chances to void Refinement Realm with blood transformation, but all of them were rejected by him. The Spirit King Palace paid a huge price to replace the complete demon blood of a peak void Refinement Realm expert for Lu Daochen. With a secret technique, It allowed him to break through to the void refinement realm in a single step. In that case, Lu Daochen would be able to ascend to the demon spirit land with ease after being granted the star of the Celestial Emperor. However, Lu Daochen had rejected the offer 3 times. It was clear that he was loyal to Lu Wu. After all, even if Lu Daochen obtained the star of the Celestial Emperor and improved his cultivation base, he would only be able to break through to the late divine transformation realm at most. Through the thoughts of the Yao concubine, Ning Fan could tell that Lu Daochen was wholeheartedly trying to repay his kindness and had no intention to harm him. That was enough. As for Lu Wu, Ning Fan learned that he was once appointed by the Heavenly Emperor of the ancient Heavenly Court to guard the Heavenly Emperor's herb garden in ancient times. For some unknown reason, the Heavenly Court collapsed and all the deities were almost wiped out. The Undying Ones had their memories erased. However, it seemed like Lu Wu's memories were not completely wiped out. He even took the Heavenly Emperor's herb garden and gouged out a Heavenly Emperor's demon star from his left eye before disappearing without a trace. Time flew and the worlds were divided again. The True Spirit Clan and the Spirit King Palace of the Demon Spirit Land asked Lu Wu for the Emperor Star and Emperor Herbs, but were rejected. After that, Lu Wu was completely exiled. He hid in this place of hibernation and separated the 9 worlds. Under the isolation of the Emperor Star, no one knew where Lu Wu was imprisoned, until the old ancestor of the giant devil clan unintentionally broke the secret realm of the broken world. Then, a certain force in the internal endless sea somehow contacted the True Spirit Clan of the upper world and spread the shocking news. The place where Lu Wu was hibernating was in the secret realm of the broken world in the endless sea of the rain world. That was why the Yao concubine, Wang Xiao and the others arrived one after another. Ning Fan's eyes turned solemn. From the Yao concubine's mind, he learned that the force in the internal endless sea that contacted the heavenly demon world was the Demon Sealing Palace. The Demon Sealing Palace is probably not as simple as it seems. From the fact that the Pure Flame clan bribed Liu Bei and the Demon Sealing Palace's Chu He met, Ning Fan boldly deduced that the Demon Sealing Palace was actually a force that the Pure Flame clan had used a special method to sneak out of the secret realm and cultivate in the endless sea. From the Yao concubine's mind, Ning Fan learned many shocking facts. However, what concerned him the most was none other than the question about the Heavenly Emperor's star. This Emperor star once contained 1/9 of the Heavenly Emperor's cultivation base. If Ning Fan devoured it at that time, he might even become an immortal in a single step. However, as time went by, the power of the Emperor star had already weakened. It was already very rare for Ning Fan to break through to the mid-divine transformation realm from an early divine transformation realm. The Yao concubine did not know about the Star Palace, but she knew about a certain use of the Heavenly Emperor's star. When Lu Wu was alive, he was the one who looked after the Emperor Herbs for the Heavenly Emperor. That monarch herb was said to allow mortals to live forever, immortals to have an indestructible immortal body, injured people to recover from serious injuries, and dead people to come back to life. That kind of imperial medicine might still exist in the Third World. The Spirit King Palace's desire for the star of the celestial Dharch was just a cover-up. The Dharch herb was the real goal. They needed the Dharch medicine to heal the Spirit King. The rumors of using the star of the celestial emperor to heal injuries were all a cover-up. If Mu Weiliang, Ning Honghong, and the others were to consume this monarch herb, there should be a lot of hope for them to come back to life. Ning Fan took a deep breath. He didn't expect that he could pry out so much information from the demon concubine's mind. In that case, it was not a waste to invite her out. The corners of his mouth curled up into a smile. When the Yao concubine saw this smile, her pretty face immediately turned cold. How dare you? This Liu Bei is really bold. You're holding your chin and staring straight at this consort's breasts, and you're even laughing lewdly. Ever since she joined the Spirit King Palace, she had been promoted from a servant to a concubine. No man had ever looked at concubine Wu Yan like this. She felt that Ning Fan's gaze was like a solid object that was ruthlessly scraping her soft breasts. It was extremely rude. Liu Bei, did you invite this consort out just to profane this consort? The demon concubine had completely misunderstood Ning Fan. However, the demon concubine's expression changed immediately. Ning Fan returned to his senses and cupped his fists at the demon concubine. I apologize for my rudeness. I have something to attend to, so I'll take my leave first. Thank you, demon concubine, for condescending to meet me. As soon as he finished speaking, Ning Fan inadvertently revealed a smile, as if he had gotten what he wanted. He leisurely descended to the 9th floor and left. He left just like that? This is ridiculous. The demon concubine laughed out of anger. This person invited me out just to ask a few silly questions. Of course, I won't answer them. Could it be that this person invited me out just to admire my body? Especially when he left, he showed an expression as if he had gotten what he wanted. Could it be that he's so satisfied after profaning this consort? However, since he took pleasure in profaning this consort, there was no trace of evil desire on his body. He's different from those lechers who entered the Misty Rain Tower. The demon concubine's anger gradually subsided. She stood between the dust and the bookshelves, casually flipping through the scriptures. She was not in the mood to read at all. Gradually, a trace of loneliness rose in her heart. As the demon concubine of the Spirit King Palace, she must be extremely cautious when meeting men. Speaking of which, this date with Ning Fan was the first time she met a man alone outside of a mission. I'm not free. I'm restricted by my identity and it's hard for me to have freedom in my life. She sighed softly. Unknowingly, she had been standing on the 9th floor for a long time. However, gradually, her eyes revealed an annoyed expression. She shouldn't be feeling sad here. Didn't she come to the scripture tower to stop Ning Fan from engraving the demon scriptures? Not good. I've been standing here for a long time. I don't know if he has already engraved the demon scriptures. I must stop him. The demon concubine lifted the hem of her dress and hurriedly walked down the jade stairs. Just as she reached the 2nd floor, she heard the conversation between Ning Fan and the guards of the tower. General Bei, 7,154 volumes of ancient demon scriptures, plus 700 demon scriptures, including Secrets of Demon Spirits, Awakening Dream Transcript, History of the Spirit King, Myriad Demon Tribe Diagram, Book of Mountains and Seas, and the entire Demon Codex have all been engraved in these jade slips. Despite being a military officer, you studied the Demon Codex tirelessly. This subordinate admires you. The guards of the tower were unusually respectful. He had never seen a demon general who had engraved so many scriptures. Moreover, each of the scriptures had nothing to do with cultivation. General Bei is indeed extraordinary. You're a diligent and ambitious general. You're a role model for me, Luoyin. Very good. Not a single scroll is missing. Since that's the case, I'll take my leave first. You stay here and guard the tower well. Don't let any rascal steal the scriptures in the tower. The secrets of our demon race must not be known by other races. Yes. The guards of the tower became even more respectful and performed a standard military salute. The demon concubine laughed out of anger again. Other than Ning Fan, a human, who has infiltrated the Luoyun scripture tower, which rascal has the ability to steal the scriptures? In the entire Luoyun, you're the only rascal that I need to pay special attention to. It's too late. It's too late. I'm a step too late. This rascal has engraved the entire demon codex away. Stinky rascal, the next time I see you, I'll definitely make you return all the demon codex to me. The demon concubine cursed softly. Inadvertently, she stepped on the air and fell down the jade stairs. A purplish-black smoke figure floated over and stood in front of the Yao concubine. It gently grabbed her wrist and revealed a harmless smile. Be careful, demon concubine. With your cultivation base, even though you won't be injured from the fall, you'll still damage the reputation of the Spirit King Palace if you embarrass yourself. As soon as he finished speaking, Ning Fan's eyes flashed with a hint of mockery. He turned into a shadow and left. Each of the demons on the 1st floor of the tower saw the scene of Ning Fan holding the demon concubine in his hand. Their gazes were filled with praise. As expected of General Bei of the Lu clan, a good man of the Luoyun clan, he even dared to touch the wrist of the demon concubine of the Spirit King Palace. How dare you? The demon concubine felt that her wrist that was touched by Ning Fan was slightly numb. He even deliberately did not use a trace of plucking finger force to make her heart flustered. Her cold face blushed for the first time. I've lost my composure. How could I lose my composure today? I've actually been taken advantage of 3 times by a mere foreign race. It's really infuriating. In the Treasure Refinement Pavilion of the Luoyun County Prefecture. In the pavilion, Lu Wun'er felt slightly relieved after knowing that Ning Fan would not have any conflict with her master. Then, she began to forge the Phoenix Wing's spiritual equipment. Outside the pavilion, Lu Daochen was leaning on his dragon walking stick. His eyes were half closed and his expression was filled with satisfaction. Wun'er's spiritual attachment technique is gradually reaching perfection. In the past, her skills were outstanding, but the spirit equipment she forged lacked the intention. After getting to know Liu Bei and serving her, Wun'er had her first awakening of love. For the first time, she understood how to forge spirit equipment for the person she loves. The intention of the heart is the key to improve the spiritual attachment technique to the profound heavens realm. If Wun'er breaks through to the divine transformation realm, I'm afraid she can start trying to forge profound heaven's spiritual equipment. While Lu Daochen was talking to himself, his expression suddenly changed. Behind him, a white-robed figure was walking towards him step by step. Today is the 3rd day. I've agreed to your request. However, the opportunities in the third world are unpredictable and the dangers in the Star Palace are unknown. Unless I break through to the divine transformation realm, I will not enter the third world without permission. Ning Fan's eyes were unprecedentedly serious. In the past, the reason why he dared to enter the third world was because he thought that Lu Wu was the only one who was sleeping and the demon marshal was not awakened. Now that he knew so many secrets, the star of the Celestial Emperor and the Emperor Medicine, he was filled with yearning for the opportunities in the third world. However, he also knew that he would definitely die if he entered the third world without sufficient strength. Lu Daochen's expression relaxed. He would repay the kindness he owed Lu Wu through Ning Fan's hands. If you want to break through to the divine transformation realm, I will certainly do my best to help you. The Dragon Lake was the best place to turn one's demonic power into divinity. You will certainly be able to break through to the divine transformation realm within 100 years. 100 years is too long. I want to break through to the divine transformation realm within 10 years. Ning Fan's eyes turned solemn. He could not let Su Qiuling wait for too long. After all, she only had less than 30 years to live. Enter the dragon pool and achieve divine transformation in 10 years. Ordinary people might not be able to do it. However, with the golden blood of the demon marshal, Ning Fan might be able to do it. Chapter 266. The Forbidden Area of the Prefecture, the Dragon Lake. The sky was dark, not because it was late, but because the black mist of the dragon pool had risen into the sky and blocked the sunlight. The vegetation here had withered, and the pool water reeked of blood. However, when he inhaled the bloody water vapor into his lungs, it was like meeting sweet dew after a long drought. It actually improved his demonic power a little. If he could increase his demonic power with a single breath, it would not be difficult for ordinary cultivators to reach the soul formation stage in 100 years if they were to jump into the dragon pool to cultivate. However, the prerequisite was that you had to survive in the dragon pool for more than 100 years. There were also many cultivators whose bodies were shattered by the demonic energy, and who died while cultivating in the dragon lake. The smell of blood had melted into the water, and had not dissipated. Ning Fan's eyes turned cold. The pitch-black, bottomless black pond in front of him was the dragon pond that the demon race of the Luoyun tribe yearned for. Dragon Pool. With one step, one could bathe in the dragon and transform into a god. With one wrong step, one could shatter one's body. Danger and opportunity always coexisted. This dragon lake is so deep that you can't see the bottom. However, the deeper you go, the denser the demonic energy in the water will be. The time needed to absorb the demonic energy and break through to the divine transformation stage will also be shorter. Above 90,000 feet was the black pool, and below 90,000 feet was the blood pool, filled with the corpses of the demon cultivators that had died over the countless years. Below that it is said to be the Yellow Springs, where dragon corpses are buried. It is connected to the veins of the earth, forming a great power. That is why it is called the dragon pool. I'm not sure if that's the case or not. With my mid-deity transformation cultivation base, I can only descend 12,000 feet with the power of bestowment. As for normal cultivators, they usually only cultivate it at a depth of 10,000 feet. At this depth, they could reach the soul formation stage in 100 years if there were no accidents. In the past, some of the great cultivators who died in this lake had overestimated their own strength and tried to dive deeper into the lake. As a result, their bodies were crushed by the demonic energy. Some of them were ambushed by the dark beasts in the dragon lake. Liu Bei, you must remember this. The affairs of the world are unpredictable. Act according to your capabilities. Yes. Ning Fan closed his eyes. Before coming here, he had already gathered all the information about the dragon pool. He did not enter the dragon pool immediately. Instead, he stood still with his hands behind his back for 3 whole days. 3 days later, his aura had reached its peak. He took a step forward, turned into a purple rainbow, and leaped into the pool. Dragon Pool Divinity Transformation. Ning Fan had been waiting for this step for far too long. The purple ray of light turned into Ning Fan's figure 3,000 zhang away. The thick and pungent water made him frown, but for the sake of raising his strength, he endured the discomfort for the time being. At 3,000 zhang, the cultivation speed of demonic energy was almost 3 times that of the outside world. Soul formation cultivators in the outside world would usually cultivate in seclusion for 200 or 300 years to accumulate demonic energy before they could break through the bottleneck. If it was here, a demon cultivator with decent aptitude would be able to touch the bottleneck in 80 to 90 years. If it was a lower position, the cultivation speed would be even faster. Achieving the divine transformation realm in 10 years was definitely not an empty talk. However, the prerequisite was that Ning Fan had to dive deep enough into the dragon pond. However, this place gave him a vague sense of danger. It was as if someone was watching him from the dark. It must be the dark beast that Lu Daochen mentioned. Ning Fan spread his spirit sense. Even with the strength of his sword sense, his spirit sense was actually limited to a radius of 100 zhang. The viscous water seemed to be able to block one's perception. In other words, Ning Fan could sense 100 zhang. Ordinary grand cultivators could only sense 3 zhang. Even Lu Daochen could only sense 700 zhang. After all, they didn't have sword thoughts. Ning Fan frowned. Even though the demonic energy in this place was dense, it was far from being unbearable. He took a step forward and his body turned into a purple ray of light, continuing to dive deeper. 2,000 zhang, 3,000 zhang. At the 90,000 zhang mark, the water of the pond seemed to be divided by a clear boundary. The top part was black while the bottom part was blood red. The speed of demonic energy cultivation in the 90,000 zhang black pond was almost 6 times faster than the outside world. In this place, one could achieve the divine transformation realm in 40 to 50 years. The demonic energy that flowed into his body made him feel a little uncomfortable. When he activated his astral spirit, which was at the 2nd level of the Jade Life realm, the discomfort immediately disappeared. I can achieve the divine transformation realm in 40 years here. However, if I go deeper, the time will be even shorter. However, the deeper he went, the more he felt that he was being stared at by the dark beast. It was as if there were thousands of obscure eyes looking at him, making his hair stand on end. When he took a step into the blood-red pond, a dark shadow that was like a blade pierced towards his dantian. It strangely went through the defense of his astral spirit. This black light came too fast, and it seemed to be able to ignore all defenses other than demonic techniques. General armor appear. Ning Fan's eyes turned cold. A silver armor appeared around his body. When the black light collided with his breastplate, it immediately trembled. A huge force hit Ning Fan's lower abdomen. However, it did not break his breastplate. Instead, it made the black light feel dizzy and lost its focus for a moment. The black light paused and revealed a small black snake-like beast. Its sharp teeth were coated with poison, and it had a pair of wings on its back. It was probably the dark beast that was watching him in the dark. Although it was just a small beast, it actually had a nascent soul realm cultivation base. In addition to its strange speed and defense-breaking ability, many peak nascent soul realm cultivators had died in its hands due to carelessness. Obviously, it did not expect Ningfan to have the profound earth general armor to protect himself. The ferocious light in the dark beast's eyes diminished slightly, and it tried to escape. However, before it could take half a step, Ningfan had already slapped it with his palm. His demonic energy shook and the dark beast was almost crushed into pieces. He clenched his fist and caught the dark beast in his hand. Looking at the beast, Ningfan's eyes darkened. This beast is a bit troublesome. Above 90,000 zhang, the dark beast is only at the early nascent soul realm. However, below it, there might be mid-nascent soul realm, late nascent soul realm, peak nascent soul realm, and even divine transformation realm dark beasts. At that time, I won't be able to defend against the sneak attack of this beast with my general armor. With this beast spying on him, it would be extremely dangerous for him to venture below 90,000 feet without anyone protecting him. The female corpse and the stone warrior could be sent out to protect them. However, neither of them had any demonic power or demonic arts, so they might not be able to withstand the attacks from the dark beasts. They might even be injured or killed by the dark beast's sneak attacks. From the looks of it, I can only cultivate at 90,000 feet at most. Do I still need to be cautious at all times? As soon as Ningfan exerted his palm force, the dark beast died. The dark beast's entire body was filled with poison. Even its demon blood could not be easily refined by Ningfan. While he was hesitating, the exquisite golden flame chariot in his interspatial pouch trembled slightly, as if it was extremely excited. Black Dragon Mound. This aura, it was definitely the Black Dragon Tomb. Fiend, I'm warning you. Let me out now. I can already feel it. This is the Black Dragon Mound. It's a good place for me to improve my cultivation. If you don't let me out, I'll kill you. Ningfan's eyes flashed with surprise. The thing that was making noise in his interspatial pouch was naturally the Black Dragon, the spirit of the Golden Flame Chariot. From what it said, it seemed to be very familiar with this dragon pond. It even called it the Black Dragon Tomb. Speaking of which, this Black Dragon was a helper with demonic power. It was a mid-spirit severing realm cultivator. If I have this evil dragon to protect me, I won't be afraid of the dark beasts. With a determined look, he patted his interspatial pouch, and a small golden flame chariot appeared on his palm. Inside the chariot, the shadow of a black dragon scanned the surroundings. After confirming that this place was indeed the Black Dragon Tomb, it became extremely excited. It couldn't wait to get out of the chariot and improve its demonic power, or even reconstruct its demonic body. However, the poor black dragon had already been refined into a chariot spirit by Ningfan. If it wants to leave the golden flame chariot, it would need Ningfan's spirit sense permission. Let me out. I know you're afraid that I'll obtain the inheritance in the Black Dragon Tomb and accidentally break through to the Void Refinement Realm. You're jealous of me. Fiend, I'm warning you again. If you don't let me out, I'm going to fight you for real. When I'm angry, I'm very scary. Noisy. Ningfan activated the demon seal. Immediately, the black dragon cried and cursed in pain. His arrogant words gradually became honest. Spare my life. Master, spare my life. I was too pleased with myself. I've sinned. Humph. If you speak rudely again, don't blame me for your death. Let me ask you, what is the Black Dragon Tomb? Thumped at the black dragon's heart trembled. Just now he was too pleased with himself and blurted out the name of the Black Dragon Tomb. This was the secret of the Black Dragon clan. Only he, as the young lord, knew about it. Ordinary demons would never know about it. I don't know what the Black Dragon Tomb is. 3 breaths. If you don't tell me the truth, you'll die. Ningfan was too lazy to talk nonsense with the black dragon. 1 breath. 2 breaths. On the 3rd breath, the black dragon gritted his teeth and said, "All right. Isn't it just the Black Dragon Tomb? I'll tell you. Besides the Black Dragon clan, no one else can obtain any benefits from this tomb." The black dragon said proudly, "It seems like my luck is not bad. I thought I was unlucky enough to become a sinful dragon. I thought I was unlucky enough to have my dragon claw cut off and turned into a carriage spirit. But now my luck has changed. I actually found a black dragon tomb. Get to the point. Ning Fan exerted his palm force. The black dragon's demon soul in the golden flame chariot was on the verge of collapse. At this moment, the black dragon was terrified again. Don't do it. You'll hurt our relationship. I'll tell you everything. This black dragon tomb is actually the tomb of a royal ancestor of my black dragon clan. Under a special terrain, a secret technique was used to keep the corpse of the royal ancestor immortal. The blood essence was left for the descendants to devour and absorb. However, only members of my black dragon clan can obtain this inheritance. Ordinary people can't get it. If the deceased royal ancestor is a heavenly demon, I'll be rich. I'll have no problem breaking through to the void fragmentation realm after absorbing his demon corpse and blood. The black dragon's eyes were filled with anticipation. Black Dragon Clan, Ning Fan frowned. From the Demon Codex, he knew that the Dragon Clan originally had countless branches. However, after the great calamity of heaven and earth, other than the immemorial Lightning Dragon, no other dragon clan could produce a royal bloodline. Before the calamity, the Black Dragon Clan was once stronger than the Lightning Dragon Clan. Does this mean that this dragon pond has existed before the collapse of heaven and earth, and Luwu fell into a deep slumber? So there's a royal black dragon corpse sleeping under it. The second world is very fragile. At most, only divine transformation realm cultivators can enter it. In other words, if there's really a royal black dragon corpse, it would at most be at the half-step void refinement realm. In that case, it's impossible for there to be a heavenly demon corpse that the black dragon was looking forward to. At most, it would be a divine transformation realm demon corpse. I'm afraid the black dragon is going to be disappointed. However, since this place is the dragon tomb of the Black Dragon Clan, this black dragon should have many ways to resist the dark beasts. Do you have a way to deal with the dark beasts? Ning Fan asked in a deep voice. Dark beasts? Them? They are just my food. Once I show myself, they will run away. The black dragon said proudly. All right. In that case, I'll cultivate here, and you'll be responsible for protecting me. If there's any mistake, I'll activate the demon seal and take your life. Come out. Ning Fan pointed at the golden flame chariot. The black dragon trembled and flew out of the golden flame chariot, turning into his massive dragon body. Ning Fan kept the golden flame chariot and stepped on the black dragon's back. Go deeper. No problem. Leave it to me. The black dragon agreed readily. Inwardly, he was so pleased that he wanted to laugh. This malefic star wants to cultivate in the dragon tomb. Great. This is really great. During this period of time, I'll be capturing dark beasts in the dragon tomb to obtain the inheritance of the royal seniors, and strive to break through to the void refinement realm. As long as I break through to the void refinement realm, no matter how powerful the demon seal is, it won't be able to control demonic beasts that are a realm higher than them. He certainly won't be able to control me. All of a sudden, the black dragon was filled with expectations for the future. However, when he crossed the blood pond and entered the bottom of the yellow spring, all of his expectations were dashed. The bottom of the yellow spring was 300,000 zhang. Countless skeletons were piled up in this place. At the top of the pile of skeletons was the corpse of a black dragon that had yet to decompose. From the observation of the dragon blood, this black dragon should be at the half-step void refinement realm when it was alive, which was similar to what Ning Fan had expected. The black dragon's dream of freedom was shattered to pieces. Divine transformation realm dragon corpse. It's not a heavenly demon. Damn. I'm happy. In this case, even if I really devour this dragon corpse and dragon blood, I can only break through to the peak spirit severing realm at most. The dragon blood is mine. The corpse is yours. Ning Fan smiled and jumped down from the black dragon. With a flick of his sleeve, drops of black dragon blood that were full of demonic power flew into his hand, and he swallowed them. The black dragon was in a mess and broke down. Originally, I could only reach the peak spirit severing realm at most after devouring the dragon corpse and dragon blood. Now, I can only break through to the late spirit severing realm at most. I'll fight you to the death. If you make any more noise, I won't give you the dragon corpse anymore. Ning Fan's eyes darkened and he activated the demon seal. The black dragon sea of consciousness felt a sharp pain and cried for its parents. He thought, at least I didn't help this malefic star for nothing. At least I got the dragon corpse. So what if it rots? It's better than nothing. I'll endure it. I'll eat it. After eating this dragon corpse, I'll cultivate diligently and strive to break through to the late spirit severing realm. Then, I'll eat some dark beasts to replenish my nutrients. Perhaps, I still have a chance to break through to the peak spirit severing realm, or even the void refinement realm. When the black dragon thought of this, it no longer felt dejected. Its eyes scanned the surroundings. There seemed to be more than 10 early spirit severing realm dark beasts in the dark. Oh my! These are all delicious dry rations. In the dark, the thousands of dark beasts that were spying on Ning Fan felt a chill down their spines and shivered when they saw the black dragon. The black dragon specialized in eating dark beasts. The fear of the dark beasts was instinctive. In front of the black dragon, the dark beasts could not even display 10% of their strength. 300,000 zhang of demonic power almost burst their bodies. If it wasn't for his physical body breaking through to the second level of Jade Life Realm, and the protection of the royal Fuli blood, Ning Fan would never be able to adapt to the demonic power in this place. Cultivating in this place was 30 times faster than cultivating in the outside world. It was not difficult for him to attain the divine transformation realm in 10 years. Seeing that the black dragon had a heaven-defying restraint on the dark beasts, Ning Fan felt relieved. With the demon restriction, the black dragon would not dare to play any tricks unless it was a realm higher than him. With the protection of this evil dragon, safety was not a problem. The only thing he had to worry about was whether the black dragon would break through to the void refinement realm in one go after eating too many dark beasts. Don't be afraid. Only the members of the Black Dragon clan can refine the poison in the blood of the dark beasts. When this evil dragon devours the dark beasts and turns the poison into pure demonic power, I will seize its demonic power and consume it myself. Then, I can suppress this dragon's cultivation base. Ning Fan's eyes turned cold. He gave the black dragon a heavy order to restrict its movements. Then, he sat in a lotus position and patted his storage pouch to take out the jade flame grass and the demon marshal's golden blood. 13 complete drops of golden blood and 84 blood traces. These were probably all the demon marshals in this place that was in deep slumber. As soon as the blood appeared, the gloomy expression of the black dragon who was killing the dark beasts and its guardians suddenly lit up. Demon marshal's blood essence. There are actually so many of them. This is good stuff. The black dragon could not imagine where Ning Fan got so much golden blood from. He swallowed his saliva and dispelled the greed in his heart. No, I can't seize the golden blood of this malefic star. Although the golden blood is good, I am not a match for this malefic star with the demon seal on my body now. Fine. I will give you the golden blood. I will endure it. I will eat the dark beasts as much as I can. It had been almost 3 months since he consumed the golden blood. For 3 whole months, Ning Fan did not move or speak. It was as if he was meditating. His body was surrounded by faint golden light and green flames. He was slowly refining the golden light into his body. His demonic power broke through one armor after another and slowly approached 10,000 armor. When the last trace of golden blood was refined, the demonic power in his body had already reached 10,147 armor. His demonic power surpassed 10,000 armor and broke through the boundary of the divine transformation realm. At this moment, Ning Fan opened his eyes. With just a thought, all the golden light and green flames were absorbed into his body for the final refinement. Demonic power, 10,000 armor. It's time to start condensing my demonic power and break through the bottleneck of the divine transformation realm. He patted his storage pouch and took out the general breakthrough pill, profound blood pill and separation and reunion pill. Other than these 3 pills, there was also the cloudbirth pill. The cloudbirth pill could increase the success rate of breaking through to the divine transformation realm by 10%. However, it was a secret pill given to him by Lu Daochen. The 4 pills could increase the success rate of breaking through to the divine transformation realm by 35%. In addition to that, Ning Fan's demonic power reached 10,000 armor, and he had comprehended 2 types of intent realms. If he still fails to break through to the divine transformation realm, it would be too embarrassing. In the past 4 months, Lu Wanner had successfully refined her phoenix wings. She was guarding the dragon pond, waiting for Ning Fan to break through to the divine transformation realm. In the past 4 months, the demon concubine would come to him occasionally. Of course, her attention was still focused on the world map and the world passage. In the past 4 months, Lu Daochen held a compass in his hand and used a secret technique to measure the depth of Ning Fan's dive. When the compass showed that Ning Fan was 30,000 zhang deep in the yellow spring, Lu Daochen's face was filled with astonishment. He did not know what method Ning Fan had to dive to such a depth. However, he knew that he would definitely not dare to dive that deep because he was afraid of the dark beast's strength. This young man's methods are still beyond my estimation. The younger generation will surpass us in time. I'm afraid he can really achieve the divine transformation realm in 10 years. 1 year passed. 2 years passed. 3 years passed. In the 7th year within the Pure Fire tribe, bloodlight shone as far as 1 million li. Hundreds of thousands of demons lost their lives. The world passage that leads to the demon world was opened for the 2nd time. In the 8th year, the sky above the Luoyun province was opened. Rays of light shone, and a beautiful figure in purple robes descended upon the Luoyun province, along with more than 10 divine transformation realm female demons. In the 9th year, the flames of war rose in the land of slumber. The demon crown prince conquered 3 tribes of the demon race while concubine Z conquered the 2nd tribe and seized the world map. Other than the 2nd and 3rd tribes which were not conquered and kept their maps, the maps of the other tribes were all lost. Under the protection of concubine Wu Yan, concubine Z temporarily did not seize Ning Fan and Lu Daochen's maps. However, in the 10th year, the Pure Fire tribe set their sights on the Luoyun tribe. 10 years of time seemed to vanish like smoke. After 10 years of arduous cultivation, his demonic power was condensed, and he was advancing to the divine transformation realm step by step. In the past 10 years, Ning Fan did not open his eyes even once as he tried to break through the bottleneck of the divine transformation realm again and again. In the 10th year, he finally broke through the barrier, and his consciousness entered the heavenly Tao. Then he appeared in a region with a sea of clouds. At the peak of the sea of clouds, there were 3 giant steels. The names of all divine transformation realm cultivators from ancient times to the present were carved on the 3 steels. Each of them had a height that was immeasurable. Below the 3 steels stood a 7 or 8-year-old Tao child. He was holding a horsetail whisk in his hand. When he saw Ning Fan walking towards him, he said coldly, Are you a cultivator of the rain world? Cutting mortals in the sea of clouds, ascending to the heavens to attain divine transformation. This place is the sea of clouds, and these 3 steels are the 3 steels of the heavenly Tao. The purple steel is the demon, the green steel is the divine, and the black steel is the devil. When the 3 steels are combined, the heavenly Tao will merge. As a cultivator of the rain world, you only need to complete the 3 steps of mortal severance, and carve your name on the divine steel to attain the divine transformation realm. As soon as the Tao child finished speaking, he remained silent with an arrogant expression. He had no intention to talk to Ning Fan anymore. As for the 3 steps of mortal severance, he did not give any explanation. Divine steel of the heavenly Tao. The 3 steps of mortal severance. Did my consciousness enter the heavenly Tao? Ning Fan walked closer, and his gaze swept across the 3 steels. Inwardly, he was surprised by the number of names carved on the steels. There were actually so many divine transformation realm cultivators in this world. If he carves his name on the steel, he would be recognized by the heavenly Tao and become a divine transformation realm demon cultivator. If he doesn't carve his name on the steel, he would not be able to attain the divine transformation realm, let alone becoming a devil. What does Dong Su mean? How should I become a devil? How should I? The closer Ning Fan got to the steels, the aura of vicissitudes felt like it was going to melt him. When Ning Fan's gaze swept across the 3 steels, he suddenly realized that each of the unfamiliar divine transformation realm names actually had different colors. Red, orange, yellow, green, cyan, blue and purple represented the fate at the end of the Tao path. Most of them were red, orange, yellow, green and cyan. Blue was extremely rare and purple was even rarer. However, what caught Ning Fan's attention was not the purple name, but a black name among the countless names on the divine steels. At first, he did not pay much attention to it. However, when he saw the name clearly, his expression changed. Yin Yang Star Han Yuanji. Master. His name is actually on the divine steels. There's no mistake. This name rarely has the aura of master's carving. I won't get it wrong. But why is it black? Why is the color of master's name different from others? Could it be that this is the key to becoming a devil? Ning Fan's gaze swept across the three giant steels. Gradually, he noticed that there would occasionally be a black name among the tens of thousands of names. His gaze fell upon the arrogant Tao child. Although he looked young, his bone age was actually more than 1,000 years and his cultivation base was at the late divine transformation realm. Ning Fan withdrew his gaze and cupped his fists. May I ask why the names on the heavenly Tao divine steels have different colors? Oh, you can actually see the difference in the colors of different divine steels. The Tao child's expression changed. It was because the color represented fate. Ordinary cultivators could not see it at all. Normally, only true immortals could see it. In the immortal abode where the Tao child belonged, only 1 out of 10 void fragmentation realm cultivators could see fate. As for those below the divine transformation realm, only 1 out of 10,000 could see fate. All of a sudden, the arrogant look on his face vanished. He kept his horsetail whisk and cupped his fists at Ning Fan. Fellow Taoist, you have an extraordinary eye. I'm from the Black Tortoise planet of the void world of the Northern Sea Heaven. I'm the Tao guardian child of the immortal emperor tablet-wielding immortal emperor. My Tao name is I Ching. May I know your name, fellow Taoist? A late divine transformation realm cultivator, with a bone age of 1,000 years. This Tao child named I Ching could be said to have an outstanding aptitude. Even on the Black Tortoise planet, he was considered quite famous. There were very few outstanding cultivators in the Black Tortoise planet who could catch I Ching's attention. Today, however, Ning Fan's eyes lit up when he saw I Ching. This young man has yet to reach the divine transformation realm, but he was able to read the color of fate. He is really extraordinary. Such a talent is worth befriending. I am Ning Fan. Ning Fan cupped his fists. It was meaningless to conceal his name in front of the Tao steels. The 3 steps of mortal severance was used to engrave one's name at the divine transformation realm. Thus, one's name could not be concealed. Throughout history, there were many divine transformation realm cultivators who could attract the attention of the Tao child. However, Ning Fan was one of them. Fellow Taoist, since you can read fate, I'm afraid that you will need Senior Sister Bei Li's help to engrave the steels and condense the fate brush. The Tao child took out a green talisman and chanted. It had been 13 years since a divine transformation realm cultivator could read fate. The Tao child could vaguely feel that the sea of clouds would be shaken by Ning Fan today. Chapter 267. I Ching came from the Black Tortoise planet of the Void World. In the past, when he was at the Sinister Sparrow sect, Ning Fan consumed the spirit refining grass and comprehended the spirit wander 10,000 li divine ability. His spirit sense turned into a thread and penetrated through the world and entered the void world. If it wasn't for a powerful expert of the Black Tortoise planet, Ning Fan's consciousness would have been shattered and buried in the void. The senior sister, who transmitted the message to him, was called Bailey. This place was the Sea of Clouds and the 3 tablets were required to carve one's name. Before carving one's name, there were still the 3 steps of mortal severance. What Ning Fan cared about the most were the black names. The old devil was a cunning person, yet his name was carved in black. This black color must have a special meaning. May I ask, fellow Taoist I Ching, how do the names on the divine tablets distinguish by color? To be honest, the color is the luck of a cultivator. Ordinary cultivators can't see their luck when they reach the spirit-severing realm. Their names are usually carved in the first 5 colors. If there is someone with amazing abilities who can see the color of luck, he will be bestowed with the technique of condensing luck into a brush. By condensing a brush of luck, one can carve a blue or even purple name on the tablet. Once the name is successfully carved, the cultivator's luck will be enhanced by the tablet. If the name is purple, then the success rate of becoming an immortal from the void fragmentation realm will be at least 10% higher than ordinary people. 10%. This probability was extremely terrifying compared to the 1 in 10,000 chance of becoming an immortal. From I Ching's point of view, if Ning Fan could condense a brush of luck, he could at least carve a blue name and raise his luck to blue. When one reaches the spirit-severing realm, his luck would be blue. If he had the opportunity, it might be possible to raise his luck to purple. This person had the potential to become an immortal, and was worthy of I Ching's attention. Even though they were cultivators from the lower realm, they might still have the fate of Dao once they ascend. What does black mean? Ning Fan smiled bitterly in his heart. Purple luck was heaven-defying, but sadly his luck was already tainted. The benefits of awakening the blood of Fu Li were not small, but the price was to taint his own luck. Rumor has it that those with black luck had no hope of becoming an immortal, but if the old devil could become an immortal, why can't I? The black luck is also known as the hopeless immortal ascension. This kind of luck requires the possessor to go against the heavens to cultivate. The path to immortality is bumpy, and the person's luck is extremely bad. The heavenly tribulation is extremely strong, and the probability of becoming an immortal is extremely low. The true devil inverse cultivator is already considered to be extremely difficult to become an immortal. As for the inverse cultivator who possesses the black luck, there is not even 1 in a million who can become an immortal. Fellow Taoist, Dao is unable to obtain this luck. Even if you have the ability, I still don't recommend fellow Taoist to carve the black name. A Taoist child advised him with kind words. Unfortunately, his luck couldn't carve any other colors other than black. Many thoughts flashed across Ning Fan's mind. Judging from all the signs, the devil transformation that Dong Su mentioned was most likely referring to carving the devil luck with the brush of fate. The Fu Li awakening blood meant that one's fate had already darkened and one's fate had already changed. The evil fate was destined. Demonic luck couldn't be changed and there was no need to change it. As such, what he should consider was the 3 steps of mortal severing. 3 mortal severing steps. What are the 3 steps? Ning Fan asked. Fellow Taoist. The matter of carving your name and fate will have to be handled by senior sister Bei Li. I can't make the decision. However, I can bring fellow Taoist to the 3 steps of mortal severing. These 3 steps might be slightly difficult for ordinary people, but they aren't that difficult. However, to fellow Taoist, I'm sure it'll be a piece of cake. The first step is called the 10 steps bridge. Every 10 steps, an illusion will appear. The Lord must not turn his head back. Crossing the bridge after 100 steps, the path of the past will become a stranger. According to the legends, this bridge was built by an immortal sovereign to establish his Tao. Those who cross this bridge will greatly benefit the mental state of a cultivator. Ordinary cultivators can take 15 steps a day, and they can complete this bridge within 7 days. On the first 7 days, the illusions of this bridge will intensify, and even divine transformation realm cultivators won't be able to break free from it. On the 14th day, even void refinement realm experts will be bewitched. On the 21st day, even void fragmentation realm experts will be in danger. There was once a void fragmentation realm expert who wanted to use the 10 steps bridge to resist the illusions and temper his mental state. In the end, he stayed on the 10 steps bridge for more than 21 days. On the 22nd day, he could no longer walk out of this bridge. In the end, he was devoured by the illusions. His Tao vanished and he died. I Ching introduced while leading Ning Fan through layers of clouds and arrived at a bridge made of clouds and mist. There was a monument beside the bridge named 10 Steps. Under the bridge, there was an abyss that was immeasurably deep. The body of the bridge was shrouded by purple mist. That purple mist could transform into many illusions. So this is the 10 Steps bridge. 10 steps and an illusion. Don't look back. Is this a farewell to the past? Ning Fan stood beside the monument, and his eyes suddenly widened in surprise. The handwriting of the 2 words 10 steps was very familiar. He recognized it. This handwriting was almost the same as the one that wrote, "Sending the monarch to death." This 10 steps bridge was actually built by the peerless true immortal, who wrote the nameless ancient scroll. Ning Fan could not help but be shocked. According to I Ching, this 10 steps bridge was built by the immortal sovereign of the ancient era. Then, if the person who built the bridge was the same person who wrote the nameless ancient scroll, then the 4 words "sending the monarch to death" were written by the immortal sovereign. The immortal sovereign of the ancient era was the master of great emperor ancient chaos. He was the master of 1 billion worlds. The authentic handwriting of such an expert actually fell into my hands. I wonder if I can buy a rain world with the money I earn from selling those 4 words. Ning Fan slowly put away his expression. "Fellow Taoist, please step onto the bridge and slay the mortal," I Ching said with a clear voice. The dense purple mist on the bridge formed a passageway for people to step on the bridge. At the moment when the purple mist dispersed, Ning Fan seized the opportunity and stepped on the bridge in 1 step. Standing on the cloud bridge, the purple mist disappeared. Ning Fan immediately felt a great immortal pressure pressing on his body. It was as if countless mountains were being carried on his shoulders, making it difficult for him to move even half a step. The pressure of an immortal sovereign. Under this pressure, be it an immortal emperor or a mortal, all of them could only feel that they could not move even an inch. Ning Fan closed his eyes and no longer moved forward after a fruitless attempt. Traces of late spirit severing realm aura with blood-red light covered his entire body. At the moment when the blood-red light appeared, Ning Fan suddenly opened his eyes. He broke free from the immortal pressure and took the first step. I Ching's expression changed, and he was secretly amazed. If he did not sense wrongly, Ning Fan's aura pressure was already at the late spirit severing realm, even though he had yet to attain the spirit severing realm. As the saying goes, everything is difficult at the beginning. The first step is usually the most difficult step for a cultivator to take. Those with ordinary talent can be stuck on the first step for several hours, or even days. But for this young man to take the first step in less than 10 breaths of time, there are no more than 100,000 divine transformation cultivators in the 4 heavens who can do this. However, I wonder how many steps he can take in a single breath after taking the first step. I Ching's eyes narrowed. Under his gaze, Ning Fan's toes touched the ground continuously, and he took 9 steps in a flash. Each step forced the great momentum to turn into a sword, using the momentum as a sword to block the immortal pressure. I Ching knew that he could only take these 9 steps after breaking through to the late spirit severing realm. 9 steps to form a sword in a single breath. If he can complete the first 10 steps and summon the first illusion, he will be ranked above 10,000 among the hundreds of millions of spirit-severing realm cultivators in the 4 heavens. 9 steps was the limit of Ning Fan's heaven-treading 9 steps. After the 9th step, the sword momentum would reach its peak. The heavy immortal pressure almost made Ning Fan breathless, let alone taking the 10th step. The words of the Tao child fell into Ning Fan's ears. It was obviously a compliment, but Ning Fan felt that it was harsh to his ears. Even if I can complete the 10th step in a single breath, it will only be the strength of 10,000 spirit-severing realm cultivators in the 4 heavens. There are so many descendants of fiend gods and outstanding youths in the 4 heavens. 10,000 is not enough. I don't know how many ranks my master obtained in the past, but it definitely won't be 10,000. The blood-red aura pressure shook violently, slightly dispersing the purple mist immortal pressure. Ning Fan made up his mind and took the 10th step. When he forcefully took the 10th step, the immortal pressure trembled. He felt a sweetness in his throat and almost coughed out blood. However, he did not want to cough or swallow this blood. Once he coughed out blood, his strength would collapse and the 10th step would be his limit. This child really can take 10 steps in one breath. 10 steps, 1 illusion. At this place, this child will face the first illusion of the mortal world. The first illusion usually represents this child's first death enemy, but I wonder what cultivation this first enemy will have. After 10 steps, a black-robed cultivator slowly appeared in front of Ning Fan. The 7 of them had an indifferent expression. Their faces were young, but their voices were hoarse and old. They were late harmonious spirit cultivators. Wu Dongnan, the outer sect elder of the Heaven Separation sect who captured Jihe into the all-pleasure school and wanted to use her as a cauldron. The first person Ning Fan personally killed. The Dao child's eyes were moved as he involuntarily exclaimed. This child's first enemy is actually a late harmonious spirit cultivator. His expression changed not because of how high a late harmonious spirit cultivation was, but as the first enemy, this cultivation was indeed not low. No matter how strong a cultivator was, they still started cultivating as a mortal. The first person a cultivator killed was usually a mortal or a vein-opening junior. The first enemy was a harmonious spirit cultivator. If Ning Fan didn't break the taboo of killing after reaching the harmonious spirit realm, then he would have pointed his sword at a harmonious spirit cultivator. This illusion, it is not difficult for this child to break, but I wonder if he can continue to take the 10th step without stopping. If he can, then he can enter the top 9,000 of the 4 heavens spirit transformation cultivators. However, he can't do it. Just now he barely managed to take the 10th step, and almost coughed out blood. Ning Fan's gaze fell on Wu Dongnan's body with a cold glint flashing in his eyes. That Wu Dongnan was clearly an illusion, but it was very realistic. Even when facing Ning Fan, he still had a ferocious expression and spoke ruthlessly. Ning Fan, you dare to kill me, you dare to kill me. If this matter is known by the Heaven Separation School's schoolmaster Wuxia, you will die for sure. Wu Dongnan's ruthless words were spoken as his mind gradually became sober. Only now did he notice that he had been dead for a long time. In this period of time, Ning Fan was no longer the 5th level vein opening junior that killed him that year. The Ning Fan in front of him had an unreachable aura, like an insurmountable mountain. However, because he was close to spirit transformation, his aura was almost concealed, so Wu Dongnan couldn't feel the fierceness of Ning Fan when he first saw him. But as the cold glint in Ning Fan's eyes rose, he no longer held back his pressure. The pressure of a late spirit transformation cultivator landed on Wu Dongnan's purple mist illusionary body, causing him to feel a chill run down his spine. What kind of cultivation is this? Gold core? No, there is no gold core cultivator in you with such pressure. Could it be the legendary nascent soul realm? Yes, it must be the nascent soul realm. But, how is this possible? Ning Fan is just an ant. How could he reach nascent soul? This is impossible. To Wu Dongnan, nascent soul was a legendary realm. However, under the pressure of Ning Fan's blood-red pressure, Wu Dongnan was frightened to find out that the opponent's pressure was enough to make his purple mist illusionary body collapse. Every inch of the immortal vein shattered. His sea of consciousness turned into nothingness. It was as if his entire life's Dao intent was annihilated under Ning Fan's pressure. This is the power of a late spirit transformation cultivator. Wu Dongnan, you plotted against Jihe that year. This hatred, even if I kill you, I will not forget it for generations to come. Die. The pressure shook and Wu Dongnan's body collapsed, leaving only his head on the bridge, staring at Ning Fan in disbelief. This illusion was called an illusion, but there was also truth within the illusion. This was the technique of an immortal emperor. True and false only required a single thought. Late spirit transformation, late spirit transformation. Wu Dongnan was scared silly. The 2 words spirit transformation was countless times stronger than nascent soul. To him, it was a legend among legends. The 11th step was taken by Ning Fan. With this step, his black hair grew longer and fluttered without any wind. His white robe turned pure black, and lines appeared on the left side of his face. This step crushed Wu Dongnan's head. Then, without stopping, he took the 12th step, 13th step. Ning Fan had created 2 techniques since he started his cultivation. One was the heaven-treading 9 steps, and the other was the black current spirit dividing technique. The 11th step was not the end. It wasn't. I Ching's eyes were filled with shock. If he was not mistaken, Ning Fan's method of turning into a black shadow was the void fragmentation divine ability, the incarnation technique. With the help of the incarnation technique, Ning Fan easily reached the 19th step, and then the 20th step. 20 steps in one breath. Once this person achieves spirit transformation, it will not be difficult for him to be ranked in the top 5,000 among the spirit transformation cultivators in the 4 heavens. The second illusion is usually the person that a cultivator wants to kill the most in their life, but has yet to kill. I wonder what is the cultivation of this person's enemy. As soon as I Ching's words fell, his eyes were filled with shock. In front of Ning Fan, the purple mist condensed into a 10,000 zhang tall black-armored giant, revealing the astonishing aura of the fifth layer of void fragmentation. Fifth layer of void fragmentation, Nirvana evil vein. The enemy that this person wants to kill is actually such an expert. Facing the 10,000 zhang tall giant, Ning Fan was as small as an ant. However, this ant's eyes were cold and fearless as he raised his head to stare at the giant. Han Yetian. How dare you? Do you think my name is something that a little ant like you can call me? Just you wait. 100 years is coming soon. Your master will die, and you won't be able to escape death too. Ancient devil Dao, breaking bones to create soldiers. The black-armored giant bit off his finger. Strangely, there was not a single drop of blood. The little finger was like a small mountain. The finger bone turned into black light and transformed into 100,000 devil soldiers. Each of them was extremely ferocious and had the strength of a peak gold core realm cultivator. 100,000 devil soldiers wanted to merge together. However, Ning Fan bent his palm and grasped the sea of clouds and sunlight in his palm, turning them into a dazzling golden spear. Ancient devil Dao, breaking bones to create soldiers. 100,000 gold core realm cultivators are equivalent to 1,000 nascent soul realm cultivators, and 10 spirit severing realm cultivators. When the 10 spirit severing realm cultivators merge, this technique can be broken before your bone soldiers merge. With a slap of his palm, the golden spear pierced into the 100,000 devil soldiers like an aurora. It turned into a shadow of the sun and exploded. This was the parting sun spear, a mid-grade divine transformation realm demonic technique. It was Ning Fan's first time using it, and the body of the spear condensed in front of him. The power of this spear severely injured 100,000 gold core realm bone soldiers. With a sweep of his sword sense, the shadow of the black shadow attacked and 100,000 bone soldiers were killed. You fake Moksha sovereign, get lost. Ning Fan's gaze seemed to carry the heavenly might. Under his gaze, the black-armored giant collapsed. In the illusion, there were both fake and real. If Wu Dongnan leaned towards the real side, then the appearance of Moksha sovereign was naturally fake. I Ching was dumbfounded. If an ordinary spirit-severing realm cultivator encountered a second illusion of a void fragmentation realm expert, they would definitely have to wait for a day. After a day, the illusion would disperse and the purple mist would lessen. Who would really use a technique to kill an illusion and shatter a void fragmentation realm shadow with just a gaze? It seems like I have underestimated this young man. This young man definitely has the strength to cross the 10 steps bridge in one go. In the four heavens immortal world, he can be ranked within the top 1,000 spirit-severing realm experts. The reason why he is only ranked within the top 1,000 is because his cultivation base is still low. Once he reaches the mid-spirit-severing realm, he will definitely be ranked within the top 500. If he reaches the late spirit-severing realm, he will definitely be ranked within the top 100. If he reaches the peak spirit-severing realm, he will definitely be ranked within the top 50. I am not wrong. This young man is a genius. 21 steps, 22 steps, 30 steps. Ning Fan discovered that as long as he didn't stop and continued, the purple mist illusion would be the best nourishment for his state of mind. Just by destroying 2 illusions, his state of mind had already reached the early spirit-severing realm. 40 steps, 50 steps, 90 steps. One after another, enemies and good friends appeared. In the end, even Ning Fan's adoptive father, Ning Dainyu, appeared. He stood behind Ning Fan, shouting at the top of his lungs. However, Ning Fan didn't turn his head. Ning Dainyu was his adoptive father. Even though he was indebted to Ning Fan, he also had a grudge against Ning Fan. However, Ning Fan wasn't qualified to stop him. At the 99th step, Ning Fan stopped. Ning Fan used the power of his incarnation to cross the 10 steps bridge. However, when he was about to take the 100th step, he slightly stopped. Before he took the next step, a warm and nostalgic feeling rose in his heart. What kind of illusion would appear on the last step of the 10 steps bridge? From the beginning to the end, Ning Fan didn't stop, let alone look back. However, after taking the 100th step, he suddenly stopped. He could faintly feel that after taking the last step, the purple mist behind him turned into a woman. She stretched out her pale yellow sleeves and gently hugged his neck. Her breath was weak as she called out to him. "Child, my child. Remember, your surname is Yin. Don't hate your father. He just forgot about us. When he remembers you, he will come to this place and bring you home as promised." At the moment when this voice resounded, Ning Fan felt as if a string in his heart was broken. This voice sounds familiar. It's Mother. After taking the 100th step, he could have left the 10 steps bridge and completed the first step of mortal severance. However, Ning Fan didn't leave. Instead, he turned around and looked back. Outside of the 10 steps bridge, Dao Child I Ching's expression changed drastically. Whether it was a mortal or a void fragmentation cultivator, no one could turn back on the 10 steps bridge. Once they turned back, they would be invaded by the purple mist. They would be bewitched by the illusions and eventually be devoured by the purple mist. Fellow Taoist Ning, you can't turn back. You can't. I Ching's voice was too late. However, after Ning Fan turned around, his eyes didn't have the slightest trace of bewitchment or confusion. He turned back, but he didn't fall into the illusion. How is this possible? Since ancient times, no one could turn back on the 10 steps bridge without getting lost. Could this child be the first? How did he do it? On the 10 steps bridge, Ning Fan gently turned around and looked at the haggard and gentle woman in front of him. His heart felt warm. This woman was wearing a pale yellow robe. She seemed to be around 27 or 28 years old, but Ning Fan found her vaguely familiar. In Yin Ruawe's dream, he had seen a yellow-robed woman who looked similar to this woman. The only difference was that the woman in front of him was already a mother. "Child, my child." That woman lovingly stroked Ning Fan's head, and her eyes were filled with gratification. Ning Fan slowly closed his eyes and smiled. "So this is my mother?" Having no parents, Ning Fan was strong since he was young, but there was still a flaw in his heart. That missing warmth was made up by his younger brother Ninggu, his master the old devil, and his wife Jiha. But making up was just making up. If he had never experienced the kindness of his parents, he wouldn't be able to cut his mortal plane. "Mother, you are still alive. That's great. Does this mean that I can still see my father and mother one day?" Ning Fan pointed with his finger without using any magical power, but the yellow-robed woman turned into purple mist and dissipated. This illusion was similar to Moksha Emperor, it was more fake. The reason must be that his mother was still alive, living in a certain place. "I used to hate cultivating Tao, but if I don't cultivate Tao, I will never be able to climb the sea of clouds, cross the 10 steps bridge and discover the truth that my mother is still alive. That's why cultivating Tao is the right thing to do. That's why I should cut my mortal plane." The word mortal plane is not to cut off my mortal heart, but to cut off the fragile heart of an ordinary person. Cultivation is not about magical power, but a strong heart. On the 10 steps bridge, if I don't turn my head back, I won't have to struggle. If I turn my head back without cutting off my insignificant self, I will sink into the illusion and be swallowed by the purple mist. The reason why I didn't get swallowed by the purple mist was because my heart was not confused. The moment I heard this voice, I made up my mind to turn my head back and see what my mother looks like. The word mortal plane is misunderstood by the world. Ning Fan turned around and stepped onto the 10 steps bridge. His words and actions were like raging waves in the eyes of the Tao child. Incisive. This theory of mortal plane was unprecedented and will never be repeated in the future. The world wanted to cut off the mortal world because of mortal plane, but they didn't know that the word mortal was referring to themselves. Congratulations, Brother Ning, for passing the first step of mortal plane. I dare to say that if Brother Ning was born in the 4 heavens, I'm afraid there would be less than 10 people who are as talented as Brother Ning. Even if you were born in the lower world, with Brother Ning's resolute Tao heart, it's only a matter of time before you ascend to the 4 heavens. I will wait for the day of Brother Ning's ascension in the 4 heavens. That day won't be far away. You're being too polite. Please bring me to the 2nd step of mortal plane. Before the two of them moved, a ray of purple sword light flew out from the sea of clouds. It was glowing with the shadow of a colored glass. On top of the colored glass sword shadow, a beautiful purple figure wearing a small robe and soft shoes were looking at Ning Fan with radiance. What a great theory of mortal plane. Bailey has seen many outstanding people, but it's my first time seeing someone like young master who turned his head on the 10 steps bridge. A ray of purple smoke came from afar. It was a pretty and delicate female cultivator in purple robes. Her lips parted slightly as she walked gracefully with a fragrant breeze. Her eyes were cold. Needless to say, it made people feel that she was aloof from the world. There were 2 purple stars on her forehead. Her eyebrows vaguely resembled Bei Xiaoman's. Bailey of the Lost World Palace greets young master. The lady in purple robes did not bend her body to greet Ning Fan. Instead, she cupped her fists valiantly. Her half-step void refinement realm cultivation base caused traces of void power to revolve around her every step. This lady is not far from breaking through to the void refinement realm. Ning Fan cupped his fists to return the greeting. This lady is from the Lost World Palace. Her surname is Bei. Could she be Bei Xiaoman's elder sister? Bei Xiaoman is the 4th young mistress of the Lost World Palace. Which young mistress is Bailey? Ning Fan kept the Yuan Yao jade into his storage pouch discreetly. If this lady is really Bei Xiaoman's elder sister, he would most likely be in trouble if she sees the Yuan Yao jade. If this lady is really Bei Xiaoman's elder sister, Ning Fan would find it strange. Although they are both sisters, why is one so unruly and the other so well-mannered? The second step of mortal severance is striking the bell to seek Tao. Striking the bell of samsara will clear your heart of mortal thoughts. Ordinary spirit-severing realm cultivators can only strike the bell of samsara 3 times at most. In the past, when Bailey was at the spirit-severing realm, she struck the bell 11 times. I wonder how many times young master can strike the bell. Bailey was in high spirits. She did not show any disdain towards Ning Fan, because he was just a lowly cultivator from the lower world. In her opinion, the more insignificant a cultivator is, the more charming he is. Ning Fan secretly activated his mind-reading technique. This lady is really Bei Xiaoman's elder sister, the 3rd young mistress of the Lost World Palace. Azure Purple Sword Bailey. She is 10 times gentler than Bei Xiaoman. Chapter 268. I Ching continued to guard the 3 Dao steels while Bailey led Ning Fan to the second step of mortal severing. While walking through the sea of clouds and mist, Bailey asked Ning Fan some trivial questions about the lower world from time to time, trying to find out more about him. As the 3rd lady of the Lost World Palace, she naturally wanted to recruit such a talented person. However, Ning Fan was still indifferent when facing Bailey's questions. He only answered with a few words, and was not willing to talk about it. When Bailey asked about the Lost World Palace in the Rain Immortal World, Ning Fan showed a blank expression, as if he did not know Bei Xiaoman at all. Ning Fan's eyes were as calm as water and as deep as a pool. He did not look at Bailey even though her beautiful face and elegant figure were enough to attract any man's attention. Bailey's eyes moved and she was secretly surprised. From the beginning to the end, Ning Fan was not swayed by her beauty at all. It was enough to show that his determination was far beyond ordinary people. Even though she was a half-step void refinement realm expert, she could not see through him. It was enough to show how shrewd he was and how much he hid. This young man didn't hide his cultivation base. What he hid must be shocking. I didn't expect that there would be such a person in the lower world. Young Master Ning came from the Rain Immortal World. He shouldn't be a nobody in this world. Why didn't Sister Xiaoman recruit him? Bailey was puzzled. If Bei Xiaoman had recruited Ning Fan on behalf of the Lost World Palace, she should have already given him a quota. Could it be that young Master Ning was recruited by the demoness of the Eastern Sea Heaven? Sister Xiaoman doesn't like cultivation. She cultivated the Gui vein, but it was difficult for her to slay the red dragon. That was why she came to the lower world on behalf of Sister Shi and Sister Qing Han. With Sister Xiaoman's half-step divine transformation realm cultivation base, she is indeed not a match for that void fragmentation realm demoness. However, it seems that young Master Ning doesn't have a quota of the godly void pavilion in his body. Bailey was even more confused. A person who could turn back on the 10 steps bridge was not chosen by any forces. Why was that? Of course, Bailey did not know that when the demoness met Ning Fan, he was just a harmonious spirit realm cultivator. His yin-yang devil vein did not show any shocking potential. At that time, Ning Fan only relied on calculating the formation I of the mortal void grand formation to attract the demoness' attention, but that was all. At that time, Ning Fan had just started cultivating not long ago. It would be ridiculous if he was given the opportunity to ascend to the 9 worlds. What Bailey did not know was that Bei Xiaoman would never recruit Ning Fan. She could not wait to tie him to a tree and whip him. She really did not want to recruit Ning Fan. Besides, she had already been counter-recruited by Ning Fan. Her Yuan Yao Jade had been snatched away, and Bei Xiaoman herself was already half a step into Ning Fan's harem. Her chastity was really worrying. Ning Fan would not be stupid enough to tell Bailey about all of these. It would only bring him trouble for nothing. On the other side of the sea of clouds, a golden bell stood amidst the mist. It was as huge as the heavens and earth. Looking at the bell from afar, Ning Fan felt a wave of immortal might sweeping towards him, preventing him from flying away. He could only walk towards the bell step by step, as if he was on a pilgrimage. Young master, take a look. This golden bell is the bell of reincarnation. It was also set up by the immortal emperor. It is said that before the primordial age, there would be a chance to listen to the Tao. Every 129,600 years, the immortals would ring the bell of reincarnation to wake up the immortal emperor. They would climb the lotus platform and wait for the immortal emperor's primordial spirit to descend and preach the Tao to the 1 billion worlds. Another immortal sovereign. Ning Fan approached the golden bell step by step. His eyes were filled with astonishment again. It was rare for him to be so moved. He discovered that this gigantic bell that stood towering over the heavens and earth and controlled the cycle of reincarnation was too similar to the Eastern Ocean bell. However, there were also differences. Although they looked similar, if they were placed together, the Eastern Ocean bell was too small. Moreover, it was just a supreme-grade magical treasure, an ancient demon sacrificial artifact and a vessel that inherited the heaven-sealing technique. As for the gigantic bell in front of him, it gave people a direct feeling that its weight had reached a shocking level. This gigantic bell was heavier than the entire 4 heavens immortal world. No one could move it. That was why it was still in a deep slumber. No expert had taken it away. After engraving the Demon Codex, Ning Fan had already memorized the might-raising technique of the Eastern Ocean bell. He discovered that when he used the might-raising technique, he could faintly sense a strange connection with this gigantic bell. He could even absorb a trace of immortal might to slowly increase his own aura. This bell was built by the immortal sovereign. The Eastern Ocean bell is the inheritance of the demon ancestor. The immortal sovereign cultivated the purple chi, while the demon ancestor cultivated the golden light. The two of them shouldn't be the same person. However, their bells are so similar. I'm afraid the two of them have a deep relationship with each other. The history before the immemorial era had long become empty. Ning Fan could only deduce some information based on the 2 golden bells. The moment his eyes flickered, it was caught by Bailey. A faint smile appeared on her cold face. Young master, do you find this bell familiar? Have you heard of another golden bell that is similar to this one? No. Ning Fan wouldn't tell her about the Eastern Ocean bell. Young master, you don't have to deny it. Isn't the heaven-suppressing treasure of the Eastern Ocean heaven a golden bell? I suppose young master has heard a lot about it in the lower world. It's a relic left behind by the Eastern Ocean ancestral emperor. When you ring the gigantic bell, you won't get the sound of reincarnation. Instead, you will get the sound of killing. Heaven-suppressing bell. Ning Fan's expression didn't change, but he remembered Bailey's words. Bailey stopped 3 zhang away from the bell. She could no longer get closer to the bell. She pointed at the jade shelf beside her. On the shelf, there was a golden hammer that was 3 zhang long. The bell of reincarnation has the might of an immortal sovereign. Other than those who have become immortals, even void fragmentation realm experts can't get within 3 zhang of the gigantic bell. Therefore, there is a golden hammer here. You can use the hammer to ring the bell, and the sound of the bell to cleanse your heart of mortal thoughts. Then you can complete the second step of mortal severing. Bailey has already said before that an ordinary great cultivator, who has broken through to the divine transformation realm, can only ring the bell of samsara 3 times at most. However, Bailey has already rung the bell of samsara 11 times. Young master, if you ring the bell less than 11 times, Bailey will make fun of you. Bailey's eyes flickered. Of course, she was just joking. She didn't mean any harm. It was because she had a faint feeling that Ning Fan wouldn't just ring the bell 11 times. Besides, she also didn't want Ning Fan to hold back. She wanted to see how deep this young man who had a cultivation base that was far lower than hers could hide. Young master, please ring the bell of reincarnation. Bailey cupped her fists and slowly retreated, leaving the stage to Ning Fan. Ning Fan didn't ring the bell immediately. He just stared at the golden bell indifferently with a hint of confusion in his eyes. The bell of reincarnation. This bell has a power that I can't understand. I don't know the methods of the immortal sovereign. Is this the expert who stands at the top of all the true immortals? My master isn't weak. Immortal Emperor Luangu isn't weak either. However, in front of the immortal sovereign, only Dao Kong is superior. How many times can I ring this bell? With a flick of his sleeve, the golden hammer appeared in his hand. The confusion in Ning Fan's eyes gradually faded away, turning into determination. The immortal sovereign was Luangu's teacher. Luangu could be considered as half of his teacher. Today, I didn't ring the bell to slay mortals. I just wanted to use this bell to remember the martyrs of the immemorial era. In the future, I want to stand at the peak of all the immortals. Dong! The golden hammer fell. The huge bell vibrated slightly, releasing a purple-golden sound wave that seemed to have substance. That sound wave was like a halo. When the bell was rung, the halo expanded until it stretched to 1,000 li. When that halo approached him, Ning Fan's eyes turned cold. He realized that the sound of the purple-golden bell had improved his mental state by a level. The profoundness of this bell made Ning Fan unable to understand it. That was why he admired the immortal sovereign's methods even more. That admiration turned into a trace of fighting spirit. He made up his mind to walk the path of Luangu and the immortal sovereign, galloping across the heavens and earth. The second ring. The third ring. The fourth ring. He said in a deep voice and swung the golden hammer. Dong. 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 The 3 rings of the bell seemed to have merged into one, turning into an even more dazzling purple-golden halo that extended to 4,000 li. With every ring, the sound of the bell could travel further and further, until the immortal sovereign in the past heard it. However, 1 billion years had passed. The immortal sovereign in the past was no longer around. The immortal sovereign who listened to the Tao had also turned into dust, leaving behind only the inheritance of the fiend god. Vicissitudes. A trace of vicissitudes rose in Ning Fan's heart. And within that trace of vicissitudes, there was the true meaning of reincarnation. Dong that he rung the bell for the 5th time, and it spread to 5,000 li. It was done in one go. Bailey's beautiful eyes were moved. She had never heard of anyone who could ring the bell of reincarnation 5 times consecutively. Her eyes looked at Ning Fan's back in disbelief. Ning Fan's back gradually became more and more ancient. With every ring of the bell, his chi changed, as if he had become one with the sound of the bell. Even though he was thin and weak, his back gave Bailey a feeling that she could only look up to him. It was as if the person standing in front of her was no longer Ning Fan, but the immortal sovereign. 5 rings were completed in one go, but Ning Fan still did not stop. 5 consecutive rings was his limit. After pausing for a while, according to his estimation, it would not be difficult for him to ring the bell 11 times. Barely ring the bell 14 times, and ring the bell 19 times would be his limit. 5 rings of the bell would clear up his state of mind. He had increased his state of mind cultivation by at least 500 years. Ringing the bell of reincarnation was not only for severing mortals, but also for the remembrance of ancient chaos and the immortal sovereign. It was also an excellent method to improve his state of mind. Sovereign's shadow appear. A golden shadow slowly emerged behind Ning Fan. The moment this shadow appeared, Ning Fan's chi rose sharply. A trace of monarch's aura rose in his eyes. Then he rang the bell for the 6th time. Dong! This sound did not stop. Almost at the same time, another 5 rings of the bell sounded at the same time. 11 rings. In a single breath, Ning Fan rang the bell 11 times. However, he did not ring the bell for the 12th time. At this moment, his state of mind had broken through to the mid-spirit severing realm. At this moment, he suddenly saw a trace of an ancient scene from the Bell of Reincarnation. That scene was the reincarnation cycle, but it disappeared in a flash. In that scene, he caught a glimpse of a woman. Her face was blurred, like a paper crane. Before the woman disappeared, the purple star in Ning Fan's left eye flashed. He saw the woman's face clearly, but it was not a paper crane. It was Mu Weiliang. She was sitting on a green rock, embroidering an embroidery in the herb garden of the Celestial Emperor. In the embroidery, there was a pair of butterflies flying together. Beside her, the shadow of a butterfly was dancing. When the scene disappeared, Ning Fan's eyes narrowed. What is that scene? It's obviously a paper crane, but why is it Weiliang in the end? In the Sea of Clouds, there were the 3 steps of severing mortals and the heavenly Tao tablet. This Sea of Clouds was a small kiliacosm created by the tablet-wielding immortal emperor. This world was connected to the Void World. In the Void World, on the Black Tortoise planet, a bald and slightly chubby old man with white eyebrows was teaching the cultivators of the Black Tortoise planet. His eyes were slightly displeased because one of his most valued female disciples did not report to him when she received a message. Instead, she went straight to the Cloud Sea on her sword. One should know that the main reason why he came out of seclusion today was to teach the female disciple how to break through the bottleneck of the Void Refinement realm. Li'er, you are really going to piss me off. You have failed to live up to my expectations. Bailey was not only the 3rd young lady of the Lost World Palace, but also the most valued disciple of the tablet-wielding immortal emperor, Meng Xuanzi. Meng Xuanzi's expression turned ugly. However, he heard a clear explanation from the guard of the Tao tablet. He said that there was a spirit-severing realm cultivator in the lower world, and he saw his luck. That was why he asked Bailey to guide that cultivator's luck. After hearing this news, Meng Xuanzi felt slightly better. If there was such a reason, it was reasonable for Bailey to go to the Cloud Sea. With a calm expression, he began to teach the cultivators again. But at a certain moment, Meng Xuanzi's eyes widened with a hint of surprise. 2nd step of mortal severing? Someone saw Samsara in front of the Bell of Samsara? No, it's just a coincidence. What this person saw should be the remnant image of Samsara. But this person's chi seems a little familiar. Where have I seen it before? There was a hint of doubt in Meng Xuanzi's eyes. He did not remember that there was once a harmonious spirit realm cultivator in the lower world who accidentally entered the Void World. Meng Xuanzi was the one who saved him. However, he still could not remember. It could not be helped. There were too many things to be done by an immortal emperor. Every time he taught the Tao, he would have to face millions of unfamiliar faces. It would be difficult for him to remember everyone. This old man should have seen this person before. He should have left a good impression on me. Otherwise, I wouldn't have remembered his chi. But where have I seen it before? Meng Xuanzi hesitated. Chapter 269. Bailey gently rubbed her chest. For the first time, her cold eyes lit up. 11 times. 11 rings of the bell. In a single breath, he would be able to ring it 11 times. Bailey had already expected that Ning Fan would be able to ring it 19 times even if he risked his life. However, she did not expect that Ning Fan had actually comprehended the sovereign shadow of one of the 3 void fragmentation realm techniques, and used the might of a monarch to resist the ringing of the bell. Without any preparation, her chi was disrupted by the continuous ringing of the bell. Bailey calmed herself down and adjusted her magic power. Only then did she manage to calm her chi down. However, her breasts were still heaving up and down slightly. He has yet to attain the divine transformation realm, but he was able to condense the sovereign shadow. Moreover, he even used the incarnation technique on the 10 steps bridge. He has already comprehended 2 of the 3 void fragmentation realm techniques. What a monster! Ning Fan did not know that his actions had left a good impression on Bei Xiaoman's 3rd elder sister. He did not care about it. What he cared about was the afterimage that flashed across the giant bell in front of him. What exactly is that afterimage? It's reincarnation. Luo Yu's sleepy voice came from the yin-yang locket. Reincarnation? Ning Fan was slightly startled. Then he thought to himself. Miss Luo Yu, you always wake up when I need you. That's right. I wanted to sleep a little longer, but your ringing of the bell is a little disturbing. The bell of samsara. I really miss it. I can't remember how many years it was when I rang this bell when I was at the divine transformation realm. Once I fall asleep, I will be forgotten by time. Luo Yu's voice was filled with sadness for a moment. Then she immediately regained her spirit. My good little brother, are you already at the divine transformation realm? You managed to ring the bell 11 times in one go. That's really amazing. In the past, I only managed to ring the bell 10 times in one go. 10 times? Ning Fan was surprised. In that case, even if he summoned the sovereign shadow and borrowed the might of a monarch, he would only be slightly stronger than Luo Yu in the past. However, even I didn't manage to see reincarnation after ringing the bell 24 times. The bell of samsara contains the reincarnation power of the immortal sovereign. However, this is just a legend because no one can use this bell. You being able to see reincarnation is already shocking even if it's just a fragment. Of course, there might be others who have also seen reincarnation, but they didn't tell others about it. So I don't know. Do you want to see reincarnation clearly? You know another way? Ning Fan could not help but laugh. This Luo Yu could always come in handy at crucial moments. I know a little. It's just hearsay. I don't know if it's true or not. After all, I can't walk within 10 meters of the reincarnation bell. I want to know. I want to see it time. Throw away the golden hammer and walk to the front of the giant bell. Strike the bell with your fist, and sound the number of heavenly dippers and earthly fiends. 108 times. Of course, it is only a legend. No one has ever tried it. But you should be able to try. Big sister has high hopes for you. I am sleepy again. There seemed like the sound of the window and the sound. The sound. Luo. Li. Sound. Ning Fan remained silent. He looked at the bell of samsara and closed his eyes, recalling the image of the lady. It was Jiha, but she turned into Mu Weiliang in the end. What does that mean? Jiha. The prestige-raising technique was activated. Ning Fan opened his eyes and threw the golden hammer away. Bailey was confused. Why did this young master Ning stop ringing the bell after ringing it 11 times? Instead, he threw the golden hammer away. Does he want to end the second step of mortal severing with 11 strikes? However, young Master Ning had already rung the bell 11 times, and his mental state had advanced to the mid-divine transformation realm. It seemed to be enough for him to execute mortal severing. However, there was a hint of disappointment in Bailey's eyes that could not be concealed. After all, she was expecting Ning Fan to ring the bell 49 times. Surpassing the #1 divine transformation realm expert in the Northern Heaven, who rang the bell 48 times and become a legend in the Northern Heaven. Just as the disappointment rose in her heart, it turned into disbelief. It was because Bailey saw that Ning Fan had entered within 3 zhang 33 m of the bell of samsara. Other than true immortals, who else can get close to the bell of samsara? How did he do it? 3 zhang 33 m away from the bell. Ning Fan felt like he was carrying a mountain of immortal might on his shoulders. Just a single step within 3 zhang 33 m of the bell felt as if there were 2 mountains. Rise! Ning Fan's body was enveloped by a blood-red light. A vortex of aura force rose around his body. His eyes turned fierce as he used the heaven sealing technique to devour the traces of immortal might. He did not take the second step, but the aura force continued to rise. The late divine transformation realm gradually broke through the peak and reached the half-step void refinement realm. It was as if Ning Fan's aura force could not break through the void refinement realm due to the limitation of his cultivation realm. However, as he devoured the immortal might, his aura force gradually gained a trace of true immortal qi. His aura force no longer increased, but it was slowly undergoing a qualitative change. The true immortal qi entered Ning Fan's body and left a trace of purple qi in his nascent soul. When the purple chi rose, he suddenly realized that his luck was changing along with his aura force. The dark green luck was becoming darker, but the green color was also slowly turning into a pure green color. Moreover, as Ningfan willed it, the dark green luck was automatically divided into black and green colors. 2 traces of luck. Ningfan's heart trembled. After absorbing the purple immortal might, not only did his luck increase, but it was also divided into 2 traces. This kind of thing might not be believed even if it was said to others, but it was real. It was like a yin and yang fish fusing together. Ningfan was shocked. He did not know whether this was because of the yin-yang locket or the benefits of the immortal sovereign's immortal might. In short, his luck was unprecedented. Why was the old monster's luck black? Could it be that he was schemed against and did not hesitate to pollute his luck? However, the result of his self-defilement was that his luck was extremely bad. He could not kill gold core realm cultivators, and there were treasures like jade royal grass and coiling evil grass in 7 Apricot City that he could not find. It was the yin-yang locket that floated in front of him, but he did not recognize it. He had failed dozens of times in concocting a 4th revolution Dan. The black luck avoided the scheme but still damaged itself. At this moment, Ningfan's luck became special. Even the immortal emperor who controlled luck might not have expected that the black luck would have a chance to revive. Luck determined a cultivator's luck. At least, if one wanted to become a pill refinement master, his luck must not be bad. Otherwise, he would be like the old monster who failed every time he concocted a Dan. I am obsessed. Ningfan's eyes became firm and he took the second step. Dongsu asked him to turn into a devil to avoid the scheme. But perhaps, he did not need to be so extreme and completely pollute himself. Dirty and clean, black luck and purple luck. Good and bad, good and evil, beauty and ugliness, ice and fire. It might not be impossible to coexist. The yin-yang devil vein had the word combine, which meant merging and coexisting. He secretly activated the prestige ascension technique. The color of his luck changed even more. It looked like the black color was getting darker and darker, turning into pure black. It was not even dark green anymore. However, as long as Ningfan willed it, the 2 kinds of luck would separate. The black color was still black while the green luck gradually turned blue. When Ningfan was completely close to the bell of samsara, he placed his palm on the front of the bell, and did the boldest thing in his life. He directly used the prestige ascension technique to absorb the immortal sovereign's aura from the bell of samsara. If it was an outsider looking at Ningfan's luck, they would think that his luck was getting darker and darker, like a drop of black ink. Only Ningfan knew that when the black luck was increasing, the other half of his luck was also increasing and slowly turning into a pure purple color. When his luck completely turned purple, the black color covered the purple color and no one knew about it. However, Ningfan knew that his luck had returned. Thank you. He said something strange to a dead object like the bell of samsara. Then his fist turned jade-colored and landed a punch on the bell. Dong, the bell rang for the 12th time. Young Master Ning can actually walk to the bell and ring it with his physical body. Could he be a true immortal? 13 rings, 14 rings, 20 rings. 21 rings, 22 rings, 49 rings. The 49th ring could travel 49,000 li. Bailey's heart trembled violently and reverberated non-stop. This ring made Bailey firmly believe that once Ningfan breaks through to the late divine transformation realm, he would probably be the strongest divine transformation realm expert in the northern heaven. A ring of the bell could cleanse one's mental state and improve one's mental state for 100 years. 108 rings of the bell could improve one's mental state by 10,800 years. His mid-divine transformation realm mental state gradually advanced to the late divine transformation realm, peak divine transformation realm, and even the half-step void refinement realm. The bell of samsara did not increase Ningfan's cultivation base, but it made his aura force, luck and mental state undergo a qualitative change. Dong! Ningfan's last punch landed on the bell of samsara. The powerful rebounding force made him cough out blood. His blood splashed on the bell of samsara, but his eyes were filled with satisfaction because he saw samsara after the bell rang. However, his expression changed drastically at the next moment. The power of samsara was far beyond his expectation. It was even more untouchable than the spirit wander technique. It was as if a suction force had completely sucked his mind into the bell of samsara. Ningfan knew that he was probably in real danger this time. The last ring of the bell resounded through the sea of clouds and echoed in the black tortoise star for a long time. On the vast black tortoise star, there were more than 4,700 cultivation countries and hundreds of millions of cultivators. At this moment, all of them raised their heads at the same time. All of them were puzzled. They did not know where the bell rang from. However, the moment they heard the bell, their eyes were filled with bewilderment. It was just like Ningfan's expression when he saw the bell of samsara for the first time. The sound of the bell, however, made hundreds of millions of cultivators dazed for a moment. After they regained their senses, none of them could remember the strange incident that happened just now. It was as if a piece of their memory had been extracted out of thin air. Only Meng Xuanzi, who was an immortal emperor, managed to block the bell. Initially, he was puzzled and thinking about Ningfan's identity. However, when the bell rang, he immediately stood up in shock and recalled something. 108 times of asking. It's the power of samsara. I remember now. This young man is that person. That young man from the rain world. That harmonious spirit realm cultivator had mistakenly used the true immortal technique to travel 10,000 li to spy on the young man of the black tortoise star. Now, in the sea of clouds, this young man had rung the bell of samsara 108 times at the divine transformation realm. If that was all, it was impossible for the bell's sound to travel millions of li across the entire black tortoise star. The reason why it could travel so far was because this person had activated the power of samsara within the golden bell. This young man has a monstrous aptitude. Meng Xuanzi's eyes flashed. With a step, he teleported across millions of li and appeared at the peak of the sea of clouds, landing beside Ningfan. His evaluation resounded for a long time under the Tao preaching platform. No one could remember the strange bell sound. Millions of cultivators who were listening to the lecture were shocked. The tablet-bearer immortal Emperor Meng Xuanzi, who was known for his eccentric and arrogant attitude, actually praised someone. Moreover, it was a terrifying evaluation. Monstrous aptitude. This was an evaluation that Meng Xuanzi had never given to anyone. Even the third young lady of the Northern Lost World Palace, Bailey, whom Meng Xuanzi thought highly of, had only given her a not bad aptitude. When he evaluated her, countless cultivators were curious as to who Meng Xuanzi was praising. However, no one would know the answer in the end. Meng Xuanzi descended from the sea of clouds. He stood under the bell of samsara and looked at the young man who was holding the golden bell with his eyes tightly shut. He did not disturb him. Bailey, on the other hand, was shocked. She quickly bowed respectfully at Meng Xuanzi. Bailey greets Master. May I know what orders you have for me? Leave the sea of clouds at once and go with I Ching. Leave this place to me. Meng Xuanzi ordered solemnly without further explanation. Only he, the tablet-bearer immortal emperor, could handle this place personally. Once the power of samsara in the bell of samsara goes out of control, the memories of countless cultivators in the sea of clouds and the entire void realm would be wiped away in an instant. Bailey could not stop it, neither could I Ching. The two of them must leave the sea of clouds as soon as possible. But Master, this young Master Ning has yet to reach the third step of the mortal severance realm. Bailey is still trying to guide him. Guide my ass. Little girl, don't tell me you've fallen for this person. Why are you still here? Don't worry. I'm here to guide him to the third step of the mortal severance realm. Bailey was confused. This was the first time she saw her master cursing. It turned out that even an immortal emperor would curse people. Even countless star lords would find it difficult to meet Meng Xuanzi, who was a celestial emperor, let alone the attendants, mountain gods, or minor immortals and gods of earth. They could only meet Meng Xuanzi when he was teaching the Tao. Meng Xuanzi, who had such a high status, was personally guiding a cultivator from the lower world to complete the third step of the mortal severance realm, and carving his name on the Tao tablet. No one would believe it if this matter was spread out. However, what happened in front of Bailey was the truth. However, her face turned red. She was still a little dissatisfied. She had just known Ning Fan for a short period of time. She was just helping him to achieve the mortal severance out of goodwill, but her master said that she had fallen for him. If it was in the past, Bailey would certainly talk back to her master. But now, she saw a hint of seriousness and even fear in her master's eyes. Master is afraid. What is he afraid of? Come to think of it, young Master Ning seemed to have rung the bell 107 times. Bailey was only worried because it was the 108th bell that had erased her memory. However, she did not know that. This was samsara. Leave now, Meng Xuanzi said sternly. Yes, Bailey looked at Ning Fan deeply and felt pity. She did not dare to disobey her master's order. It was such a waste of this opportunity. She could have recruited him after he achieved the third step of the mortal severance realm and attained the divine transformation realm. She turned into a ray of purple sword light and left on her sword. She then informed I Ching to leave with her. In the end, only Meng Xuanzi and Ning Fan were left in the sea of clouds. Meng Xuanzi smiled bitterly. I'm afraid I have to help this junior of the rain world for the second time today. Samsara was a terrifying thing. Even with Meng Xuanzi's cultivation base, he was not qualified to peek into it. Ning Fan had yet to attain the divine transformation realm, but he had already peeked into the samsara. His current mind was probably devoured by the bell. This old man will do you a second favor by pulling your mind out of the bell. Otherwise, it's a small matter if you are devoured by the samsara power. If the samsara power goes out of control because of you, all the cultivators in the void world will have to suffer the amnesia of you. Immortal art, heaven peeking through dreams. Meng Xuanzi formed a hand seal and pointed at the bell. Traces of purple incantation changed and pulled Ning Fan's mind out from the bell, returning it to his body. As Ning Fan's mind was pulled out, the instability of the bell gradually subsided. Inside the bell and the illusion, Ning Fan could feel that his mind was being saved by someone. Slowly he heaved a sigh of relief. I'm ashamed. I've gone too far this time. If it wasn't for someone who saved me, I'm afraid my mind would have been trapped in the bell with my own strength. If I want to escape on my own, I can only do so after comprehending the samsara inside the bell. However, I don't know how many tens of thousands of years I would need to do that. If I'm not mistaken, the person who saved me isn't Bailey. His cultivation base is a little terrifying. This chi is a little familiar. It seems to be the senior who saved me in the past on the Black Tortoise planet. If it's really him, I seem to have owed him 2 favors. Ning Fan smiled bitterly. Since someone saved him, he might as well take this opportunity to have a good look at the afterimage of the reincarnation. He was dressed in white robes and shuttled through the palace. The medicinal qi in this place was extremely dense. It seemed to be a medicinal garden. The cultivators who came and went were either dressed as soldiers or palace maids. Each of their qi was at least at the divine transformation realm. There were quite a number of void refinement realm cultivators, and void fragmentation realm cultivators could be seen everywhere. Moreover, there were even immortals whose qi was stronger than the void fragmentation realm. However, none of them could see him when they passed by him. This place was the afterimage of the samsara. It was the past. Ning Fan did not belong to this era. No one could see him, and he could not change anything. Inside the medicinal garden, a ray of golden light soared into the sky. It was obviously a golden flame chariot. 9 demon souls were pulling the chariot. A golden-armored demon general was standing at the front of the chariot. Lu Wu. Ning Fan cried out involuntarily. This person was the person in Lu Daochen's painting. The golden-armored demon general seemed to have heard someone calling his name. He was secretly surprised and looked around in confusion. Then he shook his head and mocked himself. I seem to be a little too nervous today, as if something big is going to happen in the heaven court. Looking at Lu Wu, who was patrolling the sky above the medicinal garden, Ning Fan's eyes narrowed. Lu Wu used to be the official in charge of the medicinal garden of the Heaven Emperor. Now that he is here, could this place be the heaven court of the ancient era? Step by step, Ning Fan walked into the medicinal garden. He remembered that the jiha he saw before was in this garden. Each of the tufts of immortal herbs was a precious herb that was more than 1,000,000 years old. Ning Fan could not even recognize most of them. However, he knew that if he casually consumes any of them, he would probably be able to break through to the void fragmentation realm immediately. He reached out his hand to pluck those immortal herbs. As soon as he touched them, they immediately shattered like glass. However, a moment later, they strangely reformed. This place was not a real place. It was just a remnant dream of the samsara. At the center of the medicinal garden, there was a green medicinal stone. The lady who was supposed to sit on it and do embroidery did not appear. Ningfan sat on the green stone and waited quietly for the lady to appear. Jihe Muweiliang. What else is in this place that I do not know? After sitting there for an unknown period of time, the sound of light footsteps suddenly resounded outside the medicinal garden. While walking, the person complained with a clear voice. I failed to enter the southern heavenly gate privately again. It's really not easy to go to the mortal world to have a look. Ningfan raised his head and saw a young lady who was dressed like a maidservant walking towards him. Her small face was pure and innocent. Her eyes were clear and limpid and her hair was tied up in a bun. Jihe. Ningfan stood up involuntarily. How dare you? Who are you? How dare you enter my father's medicinal garden? The young lady waved her fist at Ningfan in dissatisfaction. Could it be that this young lady who looked exactly like Jihe could see Ningfan? Ningfan was secretly surprised. However, before he could say anything, a butterfly that was half black and half white passed through Ningfan's illusory body and flew towards the young lady. It danced among the leaves of the immortal herbs. The young lady did not see Ningfan. What she said was bold, as if she was accusing a butterfly. So she can't see me? Ningfan smiled bitterly. That's right. How could she see him? This is the remnant image of the samsara. What Ningfan saw were things that had already happened. History that could not be changed. He retracted his expression and stared at the young lady carefully. The young lady waved her small hand and caught the butterfly in her hand. Suddenly, she burst into laughter. Silly butterfly. Don't be afraid. I won't tell my father that you are stealing medicine here. Look at how scared you are. The young lady who looked like Jihe took a step forward. Within the brilliance, she turned into a face that was exactly the same as the female corpse. She was cold, noble and had an innocence that did not match her identity. Jihe's appearance and the attire of a maidservant were the disguise that she used to sneak out of the southern heavenly gate. Her real identity was the daughter of the Heaven Emperor, Muweiliang. Silly butterfly, come and accompany me to relieve my boredom. The heaven court is very lonely. Muweiliang gently sat on the green rock. She did not know that Ningfan was standing beside her. Holding the butterfly in her hand, Muweiliang revealed a trace of fascination. The butterfly is a living being of the mortal world. How interesting. Could it be that a little butterfly like you flew up to the heaven court from the mortal world? What terrifying perseverance! So many void fragmentation realm cultivators failed to ascend to the heaven court, but you succeeded. You're really amazing. The butterfly flapped its half-black and half-white wings. Of course, it did not know how to speak. Aha. Since you can ascend to the heaven court, I will grant you a name. Let's call you Xiaofan. The butterfly remained silent forever. Xiaofan, I'm not in a good mood today. Talk to me. Muweiliang stroked the hair on her temples and muttered to herself while holding the butterfly in her hand. Ningfan, on the other hand, was secretly shocked. It was because he saw the butterfly in Muweiliang's hand suddenly turn around and face him at a certain moment. Its compound eyes flashed with a trace of reminiscence and praise. It was as if it had seen the reincarnation that no one could see through and Ningfan could not see through. That butterfly had really seen Ningfan, with its thin, weak, and insignificant body. Chapter 270. In the Heaven Emperor's herb garden, Ningfan stood there for a long time. Almost every day, Muweiliang would come to the herb garden and sit on a green rock with the butterfly in her hand. She told the butterfly everything that was on her mind without reservation. Xiaofan, do you know that the heaven demon world has been broken into the awakening realm and the dream realm? Countless true spirits of the royal family have lost their royal blood and the power that they are proud of. Xiaofan, Do you know that the Devil Abyss has been suppressed by someone? The 9 Emperor Mountains are guarding the 9 entrances of the abyss. Xiaofan, I heard that the fiancé that father chose for me is going to return to the heaven court. He hates living beings in the mortal world the most. Please don't anger him. He didn't come back. Fortunately, I don't want to get married anymore. I haven't had enough fun. Xiaofan, look, father has given me the key to the realm gate. Hee, you can't tell anyone about it. The realm gate is very dangerous. It was personally sealed by the immortal sovereign in the past. We must never open it. Time flowed like water. Mu Weiliang sat idly in the herb garden every day. There was always a butterfly on her shoulder. It was a black and white butterfly named Xiaofan. The lifespan of a butterfly was very short. Some could only live for half a month, and some could only live for 2 months. In Mu Weiliang's soft palm, the life force of the butterfly withered day by day. Mu Weiliang felt heartache. The little butterfly that accompanied her for less than 2 months was about to die. It was a butterfly that dared to fly to the heaven court with its mortal body. It should not die. If you can cultivate to become a butterfly demon, you must be a good demon. She bit her lips and began to busy herself in the herb garden, collecting the dew of million-year-old spiritual herbs for the butterfly to drink. The life force of the butterfly gradually recovered and she smiled happily. She realized that she had fallen in love with this little butterfly. What a foolish woman to fall in love with a butterfly. She was that foolish. She who was clumsy began to ask the immortals of the heaven court about embroidery. All the female immortals were dumbfounded. The princess of the heaven court, who was known for being lazy and carefree, actually wanted to learn needlework. Of course, no one dared to disobey her. From then on, a beautiful figure appeared on the green rock. She was holding an immortal needle, and was embroidering on a piece of white silk. It was not embroidery of dragons and phoenixes, mandarin ducks playing in the water, plants, mountains and rivers, but a pair of dancing butterflies. The half-black and half-white butterfly was naturally Xiaofan. She, on the other hand, was the other one that was so ordinary that it was unremarkable. Xiaofan, I have left the chase sand for you. You have to cultivate your demon cultivation properly. One day, you will become a butterfly immortal and take me away. I don't like this place. Mu Weiliang looked at the small butterfly seriously. The sun and moon changed, but Mu Weiliang was always happy. No one could understand her happiness, and no one could enter her kingdom. This happiness, until that day. That day, she did not come to the herb garden. The next day he did not come. On the 3rd day he did not come. On the 10th day, she looked haggard as she arrived at the herb garden. Xiao Dai was perched on her shoulder, but behind her was a golden-haired man. The man's long hair was like a waterfall. His cultivation base was so strong that Ning Fan had never seen anyone like him in his life. His appearance couldn't be seen clearly, but from this person's actions and bearing, it could be judged that he was a handsome young man. The young man's golden robe fluttered as he followed behind Mu Weiliang without saying a word. He was giving Mu Weiliang time to think about it. You're not lying to me? If I give you the key to the realm gate, will you tell my father to cancel our engagement? Mu Weiliang's eyes were filled with hesitation. How can I lie to you? I'm really surprised that you fell in love with this insignificant butterfly. The way you do things is always unexpected. However, I have no choice. As the immortal Emperor Zhongqing, I will never force people to have feelings for each other. As long as you give me the key, I will use the power of an immortal emperor to pull the strings of love between the two of you. Even if you fall into the cycle of reincarnation, you will still be able to meet again. What do you think? But this key is very important. What if? Mu Weiliang's expression changed. Even though the butterfly on her shoulder was flapping its wings to dissuade her, she was still moved. Don't worry. Don't you trust my strength? The key is in my hands and no one can take it away. On the other hand, it will be very dangerous for you to keep it. Then you can't lie to me. Mu Weiliang gently bit her lips and passed the purple gold key to the golden-haired man. The man activated his immortal power and pulled the strings of love between Mu Weiliang and Xiao Dai. Then he left. After he left, Mu Weiliang finally heaved a sigh of relief and held Xiao Dai again. Xiaofan, you have to quickly cultivate your demon cultivation. Quickly transform and bring me away. I don't like this place. Bring me to the mortal world. Promise me that my hands will not be stained with blood for the rest of my life. Okay. The butterfly flew up for the first time and landed on Mu Weiliang's face. With its wings, it gently touched the side of her face. That gesture startled Ning Fan. He had done this gesture thousands of times, gently touching the side of Jihe's face. Jihe. Could it be that Jihe is the soul of the female corpse? And that butterfly, could it be me? This is the cycle of reincarnation. It was like an invisible string of love that connected the two of them for all eternity. It was as if there was a string in Ning Fan's heart. In your previous life, you were the daughter of the Heaven Emperor, and I was the butterfly. He became silent and understood. In the demon sinister forest, the special affection he had for Mu Weiliang, the place where he slept, and the reunion with Mu Xiaohuan. If he was not wrong, Jihe was one of the three souls of Mu Weiliang, or even the main soul. At the same time, a pure and holy figure in white emerged in Ning Fan's mind. She waved her sleeves and 7 colored rays of light moved. If Ning Fan was not wrong, that Si Wuxia was, her purpose of coming to you country was actually. I understand now. At this moment, Ning Fan's eyes became deep and clear. It was as if he could see through a person's past and present life with just a glance. This was a seed of the power of reincarnation. Due to the limitation of his cultivation realm, Ning Fan could not comprehend it. But one day, when this seed takes root and germinates, it would be enough to give Ning Fan the power to change the cycle of reincarnation. He did not say much and stood beside the green rock with his hands clasped behind his back, waiting. In the broken memories of the female corpse, he saw the scene of Mu Weiliang being betrayed. He knew that when Mu Weiliang handed the key to the realm gate to immortal Emperor Zhangqing, her fate would be hard to change. That person did not have good intentions. Mu Weiliang could not see through it, but how could Ning Fan not see through it? Zhangqing. Moreover, Mu Weiliang might have fallen in love with a butterfly because of this person's scheme. The demon race was annihilated and the devil race was suppressed. Next, it would be the divine race's turn in the heavenly court. Immortal Emperor Zhangqing, who is this person? After an unknown period of time, a gust of wind blew across the heavenly court. This gust of wind made people feel uneasy. It carried an irresistible aura force and swept across the entire heavenly court. Above the sky, an immeasurably huge purple golden door suddenly appeared. A ray of purple golden light flew past the door. Then the huge door opened. At this moment, countless voices of fear and anger came from every corner of the heavenly court. The realm gate is open. Not good. It is coming back. Who is it? Who opened the realm gate? His Majesty had given the key to the realm gate to the princess for safekeeping. Could it be her? Damn it. Princess Weiliang didn't see the big picture. But she actually committed such a grave mistake. If we can avoid this calamity, even if she is a princess, I will still request His Majesty to kill her. Voices of resentment could be heard. Shadows of true immortals rose to the sky and rushed towards the huge door, trying to seal it again. However, when tens of thousands of true immortals approached the huge door and tried to seal it again, a golden figure stepped out from the door and turned into a golden-haired man. In his hand was a bloody eyeball that was as big as a fist. Countless true immortals were shocked when they saw the eyeball. The eye of the Heavenly Emperor. You gouged out the eye of the Heavenly Emperor. What have you done? Zhangqing, did you do all of this? Zhangqing? My name isn't Zhangqing, but... The golden-haired man said something, but Ning Fan could not hear the name clearly. It was as if it was immediately erased by a strange force when it entered his ears. Ning Fan finally understood why he couldn't see the face of this person. It wasn't because he couldn't see it, but his memory was erased after seeing it. The power of samsara. Dai. The real name of the golden-haired man made the true immortals tremble. He flicked his sleeve and a golden halo spread outwards. After the halo dispersed, the first batch of true immortals who rushed towards him exploded into blood mist and died. Then, he threw the heavenly sovereign's blood eye to the herb garden beneath his feet. There was a tearful woman standing there, looking at her father's eyes with heartache. Her eyes were staring at Mu Weiliang, as if she was resentful of her for opening the realm gate. It's not me. I'm not the one who opened the gate. It's not. Mu Weiliang wanted to explain, but she knew that her father couldn't hear her explanation. The heavenly court is probably going to be destroyed after today. She raised her head and looked at the golden-haired man who was high up in the sky. Why? Why did you lie to me? Why did you open the gate? Why did you betray the heavenly palace? My father trusted you so much. I trusted you so much. But you, hee. Mu Weiliang, don't you understand? I'm originally an outsider. You're the daughter of the heavenly sovereign. You're my enemy. You're a fool who made an even more foolish decision. So, you can die now. The golden-haired man pointed his finger, and the heavens collapsed. The force of that finger was aimed at Mu Weiliang. If the finger landed, this woman would definitely die. Her soul would scatter, and she wouldn't be able to reincarnate. That finger could destroy the nirvana samsara. At this moment, a black and white butterfly fluttered its wings on Mu Weiliang's trembling shoulder. Like a ray of gray light, it soared up to the sky. Its speed was far beyond the golden-haired man's imagination. A normal butterfly. How can a normal butterfly travel at such a speed? Ah! He let out a miserable shriek because the butterfly smashed into his left eye, shattering it with a single blow. The golden-haired man who could easily kill countless true immortals had one of his eyes shattered by a small butterfly that seemed to have no magic power at all. However, the recoil from the collision caused the butterfly's body to be smashed into pieces, but it still protected Mu Weiliang. Mu Weiliang covered her mouth and felt as if a knife was being twisted in her heart. She held the ashes that fell from the sky. Those ashes were the result of Xiao Dai overestimating her strength. A mere normal butterfly dares to go against me. You're overestimating yourself. Shut up. You're not as good as him. You'll never be as good as him. Mu Weiliang's eyes were filled with resentment. With her personality, she had never known hatred, but today she understood it. In the name of the Master of Emotion, from today onwards, I'll take away the heart of the divine clan. The golden-haired man's expression was cold and disdainful. However, his heart was really shocked even if he was unwilling to admit it. A flap of a butterfly's wings was enough to cause a hurricane and change a samsara. When the butterfly died, the track of the heavenly Tao had deviated. Ningfan completely withdrew his consciousness from the bell of samsara. His eyes were sometimes pure black and sometimes pure white, which made him look exceptionally strange. He stroked the bell of samsara. His eyes slowly became clear and he murmured, "In my previous life, I was a butterfly that couldn't be any more ordinary. However, this butterfly hurt the Master of Emotion and saved Weiliang's soul." The Master of Emotion? Who exactly is this person? Ningfan closed his eyes. When he opened them again, his eyes had already returned to normal. Samsara was not something that he could touch with his current strength. The Master of Emotion was also not something that he could resist. The more he knew, the better it would be. In order to see the past clearly, he had to have greater strength. At least, he had to become an immortal emperor. Ja. I've said it before. In this life, I won't let your hands be stained with blood. I won't. After dispersing all his thoughts, Ningfan's expression remained unchanged. He turned around and left the bell of samsara. Then he cupped his fists at the bald old man who was standing beside him. "Thank you for saving me twice, Senior. If I can enter the heaven realm one day, I will certainly repay your kindness." "Save it. This old man doesn't want to have anything to do with you. A person who can see the cycle of reincarnation is too frightening. However, if you manage to ascend to the northern sea heavens one day, perhaps you can come to my black tortoise planet." Putting aside the power of reincarnation, this old man still thinks very highly of you. "Since Senior has invited me, I will certainly come to Black Tortoise Planet if I have the chance. I just don't know Senior's name." Originally, Ningfan wanted to ask the old man who Immortal Emperor Zhongqing was. However, after giving it some thought, he gave up on that idea. It was not the right time to know these secrets now. Besides, Perhaps even the old man in front of him might not know who immortal Emperor Zhongqing was. I'm Meng Xuanzi, the immortal emperor of the Four Seas Heaven Realm. Let's go to the third step of mortal severance. The third step is the Tao-seeking cliff. Later on, you just need to walk down the cliff and die with your mortal body. Then you will be able to pass. Tao-seeking cliff. Ning Fan memorized the old man's words and followed him through the sea of clouds. Feeling doubtful, he cupped his fists again and asked, I wonder where Miss Bei Li and fellow Taoist Yi Qing are. Their qi doesn't seem to be in the sea of clouds anymore. They left. I chased them away. It's all because of you. Young man, let me give you a warning out of goodwill. The power of samsara is not something you can touch with your current cultivation realm. You might not be so lucky next time. I will save you for the second time. Meng Xuanzi secretly criticized. The young man who followed behind him did not have a high cultivation realm. However, every time he did something, it would definitely be shocking. A harmonious spirit realm cultivator dared to use his spirit sense to form a thread. A spirit-severing realm cultivator dared to sound the reincarnation cycle. Everyone said that young people were frivolous, but this young man was not frivolous at all. He was too arrogant after all. In his previous life, he dared to fly to the heavenly palace as a mortal butterfly. In his life, there was no such thing as fear. As long as there was a possibility of success, he was willing to try. Instead of thinking about failure, it was better to think about how to avoid failure. The Tao-seeking cliff was a 7 million zhang tall mountain. Meng Xuanzi flicked his sleeve, causing the heavens and the earth to tremble and ripples to spread out. The two of them had already traversed an immeasurable distance and appeared at the peak of Tao-seeking cliff. Ning Fan had never seen such speed in his life. It was much faster than the old monster. Ning Fan could imagine that the old devil who was arrogant and domineering in the lower world might not have a high position in the upper world. At least in front of an immortal emperor, his position was very small. The wind was strong enough to blow away all the cultivators below the soul formation level. However, Ning Fan's footsteps were firm. His physical body at the second level of the Jade Life realm did not come for nothing. How could he not even withstand the heavenly wind? The peak of the mountain was vast and was shrouded in purple mist. Meng Xuanzi stopped outside of the purple mist and said impatiently, This Tao-seeking cliff was built by the immortal sovereign. It is the third step of mortal severing. Alright brat, jump down and kill yourself. Then, you will be able to advance to the soul formation realm. Jump down. Ning Fan clenched his fists slightly and walked to the edge of the cliff, looking down. It was impossible to see clearly below 7 million zhang. However, he could vaguely see densely packed blood corpses and skeletons. They seemed to be the mortal bodies left behind by the soul formation realm cultivators who jumped off the cliff in the past. If it was before, Ning Fan might agree with this method. However, after experiencing the 10 Steps Bridge and the Bell of Samsara, he felt that since this Tao-seeking cliff was named Tao-seeking, it should not be as simple as jumping off the cliff. Otherwise, why wouldn't it be called Mortal Severing Cliff, or Falling Bone Cliff be more appropriate? The immortal sovereign built the 3 steps of mortal severing. It seemed like he wanted the cultivators to sever their mortal bodies. However, he left a trace of opportunity in the situation where they had to sever their mortal bodies. Only by not severing their mortal bodies would they be able to seize that opportunity. There was an illusion in every 10 steps, and a lord should never turn his head back. However, Ning Fan turned his head back. His state of mind had greatly improved. When the bell of samsara rang, the monarch Tao became emptiness. However, not only did Ning Fan's Tao not become emptiness under the sound of the bell of samsara, he even peeked into the cycle of reincarnation and understood the mortal world. His Tao heart became firmer, his luck changed, and his aura force increased. Every step he took seemed to be an opportunity. That opportunity seemed to be a reward given by the immortal sovereign to the cultivators who dared to keep their mortal hearts. The immortal sovereign also yearned for the mortal world. It was because he was restrained by the mortal world and struggled with his Tao heart that he could become so strong. Ultimately, the cultivation of the Tao was to cultivate a strong heart. This was what Ning Fan had comprehended on the 10 Steps Bridge. Committing suicide by jumping off the cliff indeed required courage. Those who were timid would not dare to jump off the cliff when they saw the height of 7 million zhang. However, committing suicide, no matter what the reason was an escape. Escape from the mortal body, escape from the weak and lowly self. Being weak is not shameful. Being lowly is not shameful. Desire is also not shameful. Only those who possess these are human. Even if one is an immortal, the left half of the word immortal is still a human. In the past, in the sinister Sparrow sect, the ugly man Yun Lai had asked Ningfan a question. What is an immortal? At that time, Ningfan only answered him based on the Tao comprehension in ancient chaos's memories. Immortals are people who stand on the mountain. Now Ningfan was standing on the peak of the Tao-seeking cliff on the mountain. He suddenly had an unprecedented realization about this sentence. Standing on the mountain is an immortal. Descending from the mountain is a human. This was the path of cultivation that the immortal sovereign thought. He took a deep breath but did not jump off the cliff. Meng Xuanzi's impatience turned into a hint of approval. His impatience was just an act. He just wanted to test Ningfan to see if he could see through the true meaning of the Tao-seeking cliff. Why don't you jump? Why don't you get rid of your mortal body? Meng Xuanzi purposely asked with a clear voice. Why should I jump? Ningfan raised his head and looked at the sky. When I stand on the mountain, I am an immortal. Since I am an immortal, how can there be a mortal body? This mountain is also a metaphor. As long as a mortal places his state of mind on the mountain which is higher than immortals, he will be an immortal. How could a butterfly fly up to the heaven court with the body of a mortal? In the eyes of the butterfly, it had never thought about the difference between immortals and mortals. In the eyes of the butterfly, it was already a high and mighty immortal. It might not have magic power, but its state of mind was more prideful than any true immortal. I am that butterfly. I will not jump off the cliff and commit suicide here. I want to seek the Tao here. Meng Xuanzi burst into laughter when he heard the voice. You are indeed a monstrous genius. In the past, I hesitated for 49 days before I managed to see through the true meaning of the Tao-seeking cliff without jumping off the cliff. However, you managed to see through the key point in just a few breaths. You are qualified to seek the Tao here. As soon as Meng Xuanzi finished speaking, the peak of the cliff was shrouded by purple mist and layers of illusory realms. At this moment, Meng Xuanzi's eyes became unprecedentedly serious. The illusory realms of Tao-seeking is the only step in the 3 steps of mortal severance that can increase one's cultivation base. What a cultivator cultivates is the heart. If one's heart is firm, one's magic power will naturally increase. Therefore, when a cultivator's cultivation base surpasses the 7 realms of cultivation and becomes an immortal in one step, they will rarely consume pills or spiritual fruits to cultivate if they want to stand at the peak. Those are all methods that rely on external objects. In order to reach the peak, one must have a Tao heart that is as firm as the 7 million zhang tall mountain. Even though you have attained the divine transformation realm with your demon power, magic power is your foundation because you are a human body. Every day you stay in the illusory realm will increase your magic power by 1060 years. 600 years. 600 years is a cycle. A day is a cycle. Ordinary cultivators can endure for 6 days, but it is rare for them to endure for 7 days. In the past, I managed to endure for 97 days. How many days can you endure? Within the purple mist, Ningfan's eyes were blank as he appeared in the middle of a bamboo fence. He was holding a porcelain bowl, which contained chicken feed. He was a 7 or 8-year-old child. He stared at the chicken feed blankly, feeling that he had forgotten something important. I remember that I should be at the Tao-seeking cliff. Tao-seeking? What is the Tao-seeking cliff? What is Tao-seeking? He had forgotten everything. In this illusory realm, everything that happened in the past seemed real and illusory, like a dream and smoke. Fan Air, hurry up and feed the chicken. Bring this basket of eggs to the teacher in the school, and let him learn how to write. It will save you from doing nothing every day. A woman wearing old linen clothes was carrying a basket of eggs. She handed it to Ningfan in a bad mood. Then, she touched Ningfan's head lovingly. Silly child. Are you daydreaming again? This woman was the child's mother. Both of them depended on each other for survival. Even though her clothes were old, Her face was like a piece of dusty jewelry. She was a famous beauty in the village. Her name was Ning Qian. Ning Qian was both angry and amused at the same time. Her child always liked to daydream. Every time he daydreamed, he would claim that he had become an immortal. There is no such thing as an immortal in this world. Stop daydreaming. Be a good boy and go learn how to write. But I really dreamt that I became an immortal. I even dreamt that Jiha became the daughter of the Heaven Emperor. Silly child. That is just a dream. Jiha is the daughter of Carpenter Wang. How could she be the daughter of the Heaven Emperor? Go and learn how to write. When you have the ability in the future, Mother will help you propose a marriage with Carpenter Wang's family. Yes, Mother. The child received the basket of eggs with a slightly disappointed expression. He looked at the faintly discernible purple clouds in the sky and felt slightly puzzled. Are all those killings just a dream? I have Mother and Jiha here. I am very happy, but I should have forgotten something important. What is it? Chapter 271. The north wind blew, and the leaves fell in the cold winter. The sky was getting brighter and brighter. On the fields, many farmers were busy planting crops. The child held the eggs and tightened his linen clothes. His face was red from the cold. I'm actually afraid of the cold, Xiao Tong was surprised. He had a feeling that he hadn't experienced this for hundreds of years. There was a red birch forest at the head of the village, and in the middle of the forest stood a thatched cottage and a private school. In the school, in the creaking old house, the sound of a young and tender recitation came from afar. At the beginning of the immortal realm, there is no nature. Ascending the path to heaven and entering the sea diagram, one's magic power is vast and cannot be admired. Only when one's Tao heart is firm can one see. The boy stopped outside the school. He didn't push the door open and just stood there quietly. The children in the school recited the three-character immortal classic, written by the teacher himself. Its purpose was to enlighten the child. The child had heard this scripture 7 times. Every month, his mother would ask him to send a basket of eggs to the teacher. 7 months, 7 opportunities. He stood outside the school and almost memorized the entire three-character immortal classic. The little boy knew that he was smart and intelligent, and was not inferior to the other village children. Unfortunately, the teacher refused to accept him. Why didn't teacher accept me as a student? The little boy was puzzled. He faintly felt that this was related to the matter he had forgotten. When the boy appeared outside the private school, a boy who was a year younger than the boy immediately spoke excitedly from within the dilapidated private school. Mr. Z, Big Brother Ning Fan has come to acknowledge you as his master again. On account of his sincerity for the past 7 months, you must accept him into your school this time. That child's name was Ning Gu. He was one of Ning Fan's few friends in Ning Village. After he spoke, all the children stopped reciting and looked at Ning Fan through the dilapidated window. Today is the 7th month, but it is also his 7th day. If he still doesn't understand why he can't enter the private school, then he is not fit to stay in this world. Inside the school, a purple-clad teacher smiled faintly. This person had long hair like a waterfall and a handsome appearance. There was a purplish goldstone flame mark on his forehead. But Mr. Z, Big Brother Ning Fan, is really sincere. He is different from you. Let him stand. As for you, study hard. In the teacher's hand, there was a purplish gold ruler. He gently knocked on Ninggu's head with love and gentleness. He did not ruthlessly slap the child's palm. He would never do that. He taught without discrimination, taught by word and example, and did not punish anyone. This was also the reason why Mr. Z was famous in the village. It was rumored that even the county magistrates outside the village had to bow to Mr. Z. This person did not seek fame or fortune, but many of the disciples who listened to him were officials of the state of Yu. In the land of Yu, Confucianism flourished. Taoism, Moism, military strategy, law, and other schools of thought were also filled with scholars. As for Mr. Z's school of thought, it was the Purple School. After the teacher reprimanded him in a soft voice, Ninggu rubbed his head and sat down in embarrassment. The chanting of sutras resounded in the school again. Ning Fan, on the other hand, was standing outside the school with the egg in his hand. His fists were tightly clenched. He is different from you. Let him stand. Recalling Mister's words in his mind, Ning Fan gently gritted his teeth. This time, I'm afraid I will fail again, but why didn't the teacher accept me? Why am I different from the other children here? On the Dao-seeking cliff, Meng Xuanzi looked at Ning Fan, who was standing in the purple mist, and frowned. Today is the 7th day. Countless peak nascent soul cultivators have stopped at this step. I wonder if this young man can cross this threshold. My Dao heart illusory realm in the past was about getting married. This young man seems to be seeking for knowledge, whether he can obtain a Dao. Ning Fan did not know how long he had been standing outside the school. He kept thinking about it. The reason why Mr. Z did not accept him seemed to be because he was different from the others. But why was he different? What was different about him? His eyes gradually revealed a hint of profoundness that did not match his age. At the moment when this expression appeared, the purple-robed young man inside the school smiled faintly. This young man is beginning to comprehend. Different? What is different about him? Dark clouds gradually appeared in the sky. Within the dark clouds, the cold winter rain began to fall. Ning Fan stood under the eaves and looked at the raindrops that resembled pearls. His eyes became more and more profound. When it reached a certain level, it gradually became clear. Different. That's right. I am naturally different from them. There are no similar people in this world, and there are no similar raindrops. The reason why each raindrop is different is not because of their different shapes. The main reason is because of their different trajectories. Their trajectories are to study in the Ning village of Yu country, learn how to write, obtain scholarly honors, and become an official. As for me, I don't think that's the case. I want to seek knowledge and seek the Tao, but my goal is not to become an official in Yu country. However, I can't remember my goal. On the 7th month, Ning Fan finally understood what Mr. Z said. The purple-robed teacher's eyes shone with a satisfied smile. He pushed open the door and went out. He did not take the egg but just smiled and patted Ning Fan's head. Take the egg home for your mother to nourish her body. As for you, you have the qualification to enter the school. However, before that, there is still a test. Test? Ning Fan raised his small face. Yes, a test. My mortal name is Sunday. However, you don't need to know that my immortal name is Zido. They call me Immortal Sovereign Zido. Immortal Sovereign Zido. Ning Fan took a few steps backwards. After hearing those words, his memories were awakened like a river that broke its dam. That's right. I'm in an illusory realm. Everything here is an illusory realm. However, the purple-robed teacher in front of me is actually called Zido, and he is crowned as the Immortal Sovereign. Have I been learning from the Immortal Sovereign all this while? Immortal Sovereign, may I ask? Call me Mr. Yes, may I ask, Mr., if you are real or an illusion? Ning Fan's eyes turned serious. I'm neither real nor an illusion. I'm outside of the real void. The end of the holy road. The 4th step. If there's a chance, you will know. Now you only have one thing to do. Go home and be filial to your mother. Only after you and your mother live a comfortable life will you have the qualification to study. If you can't be filial, you aren't fit to be a human. If you aren't a human, you won't be able to ascend the Tao Mountain and become an immortal. Go. Yes. Ning Fan bowed and carried the egg, returning to his residence in the rain. The rain was born in the sky and died on the ground. However, when it was about to reach his body, it strangely changed its trajectory. The purple-robed teacher looked at Ning Fan, who was leaving in the rain, and nodded slightly. The successor of ancient chaos, huh? He's a promising talent. Ning Fan passed through the curtain of rain, and his mind gradually became clear. He had stayed in the Ning village of Yu country in this purple mist illusory realm for 7 months. In the outside world, it was 7 days. In just 7 days, his magic power had increased from 1015 units to 1085 units. It was not his demon power but the improvement of his magic power. If I stay here for 1 more month, my magic power will increase by 1 unit. He fell into silence for a moment. This purple-robed teacher was Immortal Sovereign Zido, an expert that even true immortals could not look up to. He was also the teacher of ancient chaos. However, Ning Fan could not tell whether this person was real or illusory because his cultivation realm was far from enough. He could not even tell if this person was just an illusion created by the purple mist. The only thing he could tell was that this person had a graceful bearing. He also told Ning Fan that in order to become an immortal, one must first be a human. In order to become a human, one must first be filial. The word filial was almost never mentioned in the cultivation world. Moreover, some sects would even erase their disciples' memories of the mortal world. Even if they did not erase their memories, they would also make their disciples abandon their connection with the mortal world. As for immortal sovereigns, compared to cultivation realm, magic power, innate talent and Tao comprehension, they valued their emotions more. It gave him a chance to be filial to his mother. Mother. Ning Fan's heart felt warm. He saw his mother's appearance on the 10 Steps Bridge. He saw Jiha's body in the bell of samsara. Immortal sovereign Zido gave him a chance to make up for his regrets in the mortal world with his mother and Jiha. In this way, the pain in his previous life and the regrets in this life could be made up for in this illusory realm. In this way, his heart could become stronger because of the lack of cracks. But is this really right? Ning Fan buried this thought deep in his heart. He stood outside the bamboo fence and looked at his mother who was busy driving the chickens back to the chicken coop. Then he secretly pointed at the sky. The rain stopped. Why did the rain come and go so suddenly? Fan Air is back. Is it possible for you to acknowledge me as your master this time? Before Ning Qian could finish her words, her beautiful eyes which were drenched by the rain became gloomy. Why did you bring the eggs back? You didn't acknowledge him as your master, did you? No, he had already accepted me. He just felt that I was too young and asked me to learn how to be a man at home. He also asked me to bring back this egg. Be a man? Are you the only one like this? The other children are also young, but why can they study in the school? Ning Qian asked in surprise. Because I am different from them. Ning Fan's eyes flashed with a hint of pride. In a flash, 8 years had passed. During these 8 years, Ning Fan never mentioned anything about studying. He just stayed at home and helped with the farming. He was filial to everything he did and never let Ning Qian do anything. He did not show off and was like an ordinary man who lived in seclusion in Ning village. At the age of 16, his body was obviously thin and weak. However, he managed to cultivate 100 mu of fertile farmland in the wasteland outside the village. He alone could cultivate 100 mu of farmland. Ning Qian gradually stopped working when she had enough money. Only when she was free would she go out and chat with her neighbor's wife. Half a year was equivalent to 96 months. In the outside world, it was 96 days. On the 97th month, Moneybags Wu of the county sent a matchmaker to Ning village to ask for Carpenter Wang's daughter's hand in marriage. Jiha was already 14 years old and had grown into a slender and elegant woman. She had already gained some fame in Ning village and the surrounding counties. Although her family background was poor, and she would not be favored by the officials, there were quite a few local moneybags who wanted to take her as a concubine. Among them, Moneybags Wu's family background was the highest. His name was Wu Dongnan. He even spent money to become a scholar, and could barely be considered as a family of scholars. With such wealth and family background, marrying Jiha as a concubine was truly a wonderful thing. Even Carpenter Wang himself did not have any intention to refuse. Jiha hurriedly hid in Ning Fan's house, causing Ning Qian to feel pity and sigh. Aunt Qian, Jiha doesn't want to marry that Moneybags Wu. Jiha wants to marry Big Brother Fan. Silly girl. That Wu Dongnan has a big family business. What's so bad about him? Why don't you like him and instead like my family's poor boy? Who said that Big Brother Fan is poor? He has opened up hundreds of acres of fertile land and can be considered a rich man in Ning village. I will marry him and rely on him for a lifetime. I will let him buy me delicious food and drink. How great is that? The paper crane curled her lips. Her words made Ning Qian unable to restrain her laughter. So, in Jiha's mind, marrying Ning Fan's is just like having an extra purse of money. However, Ning Qian knew that this silly girl wasn't interested in Ning Fan's money. Otherwise, why would she refuse to marry a wealthier rich man, and disregard her reputation as a lady to stay in the Ning family. Silly girl, you can be considered as infatuated. Fine, when Fan returns, I will ask him to prepare a gift and go to your house to propose marriage. As for Moneybags Wu, I'll think of a way to deal with him if he continues to pester us and cause trouble. There's no need to go through so much trouble. Outside the door, the silhouette of Ning Fan riding on a cow could be heard. He held a willow whip in his hand and his long hair draped over his shoulders. Although he was dressed in plain clothes, he still looked like an immortal. Wu Dongnan doesn't dare to cause trouble in front of me. He doesn't dare. Jihe is my wife. No one can take her away from me. On the 97th day, Meng Xuanzi's eyes were unprecedentedly focused. In the past, he had broken through the threshold of 97 days and stopped comprehending the Tao. Can this Ning Fan break through the threshold of 97 days and surpass me? Moreover, what puzzled Meng Xuanzi the most was that the purple mist that enveloped Ning Fan's body emitted a purplish golden light from time to time. That purplish golden light had a kind of might that made Meng Xuanzi, who was an immortal emperor, have an illusion of wanting to worship it. How powerful is this purple mist? What level of immortal might is this? Could it be an immortal sovereign? Immortal sovereign Zido. Chapter 272. Jihe stayed in the Ning family, and Ning Qian accompanied her in the room. Outside the house, Ning Fan was sitting on the back of the green ox with a willow whip in his hand. His eyes were calm like an ancient well. His body was clearly thin and weak, but the green ox did not dare to resist, much less show any dissatisfaction. In the Fuli royal family, all demons would avoid him. The green ox, who was not even considered as a demon, would certainly not dare to offend Ning Fan. Wang Muxi knew that her daughter was determined. After sighing, she didn't stop her daughter. However, the Wu family had recruited many local ruffians from the county. They formed groups of 3 to 5 and came to Ning village to make trouble. Many people held weapons and stood outside the Ning family's bamboo fence. Some people held torches and declared that if the Ning family didn't release the paper cranes, they would set fire to them. Hee, if you don't let him go, we won't be polite anymore. I heard that Ning Fan's mother, Ning Qian, was once a stunning beauty in this village. Even though she is already over 30 years old, her charm is still there. Jihe is wanted by the Lord, so we don't dare to touch her, but this Ning Qian, all of them were ruffians, lawless and lawless. However, what they did not know was that they were nothing in the eyes of Ning Fan, who was truly a powerless being without heavens. The insults made Ning Fan's eyes shine with a cold light. At the moment when the cold light rose, he urged the green ox and the willow whip in his hand moved. A whip shadow lashed out, but it seemed as if it had transformed into thousands of whip shadows in an instant, simultaneously lashing at dozens of scoundrels. It was clearly a willow whip, but when it hit his body, it was more painful than a metal rod. Ah! Pitiful screams spread throughout Ning village. For a time, the entire village was startled, and all the animals in the village began to howl. Ning Fan did not kill anyone. 8 years and 96 months had passed. He lived an ordinary life just to raise his Tao-seeking heart. Once he killed someone, his heart realm would be dyed in blood. Because of his killing intent, his Tao-seeking heart realm would be broken, and he wouldn't be able to stay in this illusionary realm. His days with his mother had come to an end. Furthermore, in this illusion realm, Ning Qian was a mortal woman. If she saw him killing all living beings, would she be afraid? In order to see my mother for a few more days, I will spare your dog lives. Interesting, I never thought that there would be a day where I, Ning Fan, would not kill people. But I will not kill you. Instead, I will make all of you feel fear and regret. Ning Fan's eyes fell on the ruffian who teased his mother. His eyes were filled with ruthlessness. With a flick of his finger, he shattered the willow whips. The willow leaves turned into green blades and pierced into the mouths of the hooligans, cutting off their tongues. Ah! Each of the ruffians was in excruciating pain, but they could not say a word. Their tongues were cut off and they became mute. At this moment, all the ruffians were looking at Ning Fan's direction and kowtowed desperately. This scene, with willow leaf severing tongue, made them tremble in fear. Yao arts. This Ning Fan was not a human but a demon. He couldn't afford to offend them. Could humans fight against demons? Moreover, the local ruffians had lived for countless years, but they had never seen a monster that could kill with a willow leaf. Even the little demons and ghosts that occasionally appeared in the countryside would only possess you and cause trouble, making you unable to eat or sleep in peace. To be able to kill people without any scruples, he must be an expert with extraordinary means. Unfortunately, even though they knew Ning Fan's secret of being a demon, they did not dare to tell anyone about it. Moreover, because they had become mute, they could not tell anyone about it. Dozens of people fled back to the county town. 7 days later, in the Wu family of the eastern county, Dongnan Wu looked at the 47 local ruffians he had raised and saw that all of their tongues had been cut off. His face was filled with rage. What's going on? Aren't you guys going to kidnap the bride? Why was his tongue blocked? Who is so bold to dare to offend me, Dongnan Wu, in the eastern county? Each of the ruffians was scared silly by Ning Fan's Yao arts. The only ruffian who knew how to write was barely able to write 9 words on the paper. Ning Fan is a demon, cannot be offended. Demon? Ridiculous. How can there be so many demons in this world? Yes, this Ning Fan, I'm afraid he is a martial expert. Rumor has it that when one's martial cultivation reaches a profound level, they can also use flying leaves to kill people. Humph. This time, I, Dongnan Wu, will invite Instructor Hong to take action. It shouldn't be difficult to take down this Ning Fan, but just in case, I will invite Immortal Master Zhuge to go together. If there really is a demon, then I will let Daoist Zhang capture him 3 days later. After a round of banquets and gifts, Dongnan Wu invited the famous Instructor Hong and Immortal Master Zhuge. The former was a martial expert who was over 40 years old. His internal force was extremely strong, and his temples were bulging. His concealed weapon technique had reached the stage where he could use flying leaves to kill people. Hearing that there was a young expert in Ning village, he immediately felt disdain. Master Wu, don't worry. This person's aptitude is not bad and has grasped the secret of the flying leaves to kill people, but this person is only 16 years old. No matter how high his aptitude is, his internal force is certainly not as good as mine. This child may be powerful against ordinary people, but in front of me, he is not worth mentioning. That Immortal Master Zhuge lightly snorted and disdainfully said. So what if he is a martial artist? He doesn't know that there are immortals in this world. Even though I am at the 4th level of vein opening, even 3 to 5 mortal experts can easily kill me. This matter does not need Instructor Hong's help. I alone can do it. 1 talisman is enough to kill him. Instructor Hong and Immortal Master Zhuge's words were tit for tat. It seemed like the two of them had a conflict before. Seeing the two quarreling, Dongnan naturally comforted them with kind words, but his heart was already filled with killing intent. Instructor Hong, Immortal Master Zhuge, please remember, this Ning Fan is indeed a demon. Dongnan wanted to insist on Ning Fan's identity as a demon. Killing this person would not violate the laws of the Yu country. Instructor Hong and Immortal Master Zhuge understood each other and sneered at each other. The two of them took action, and each obtained 100 silver taels. Accepting money to eliminate a calamity, insisting that Ning Fan was a demon, and was not guilty of killing him. A group of people left the county in a grandiose manner, fighting in the name of punishing a demon. When they arrived outside of Ning village, they had yet to enter the village when they saw Ning Fan riding on an ox with a willow whip in his hand. His cold eyes swept over everyone. This person is Ning Fan. A young servant who was responsible for leading the way pointed at the young man riding on the ox and shouted. Hearing this, Instructor Hong and Immortal Master Zhuge both looked at Ning Fan. After confirming that this child was only 15 or 16 years old, they had an expression of wanting to seize the credit. In the end, Instructor Hong's stride was a bit bigger. He took a step forward with the awe-inspiring might of a tiger. He raised his saber horizontally and reprimanded Ning Fan. Demon Ning Fan, come down and accept your death. With just you. Ning Fan's eyes turned cold as a bloody light enveloped his body and a vicious aura soared. At this moment, anyone who was swept by his gaze felt their knees go weak, and they knelt on the ground while shivering with terror. Immortal Master Zhuge's expression greatly changed. At this moment, he was absolutely sure of one thing. And that was that Ning Fan in front of him was a cultivator. A cultivator with a cultivation that was countless times higher than his. Just a single pressure was enough to shatter all 16 of his immortal veins. Poof! He spurted out a mouthful of blood and supported himself with his horsetail whisk. He was already terrified as he angrily looked at Wu Dongnan. What a good Wu Dongnan! He said he was going to kill a little thief, but in reality, he was going to kill a senior like this. This was simply deceiving him to come here to die. Instructor Hong was even closer to Ning Fan, and felt Ning Fan's pressure even more keenly. When the power of the bloody light came, the steel saber in Instructor Hong's hand directly turned into powder, and one of his arms turned into a bloody mist. The pain was excruciating. His dantian was destroyed and his internal organs were on fire. Instructor Hong's chest felt as if it had been heavily struck. He directly flew up and fell to the ground, but he couldn't get up and kept coughing out blood. His eyes were also filled with hatred as he looked at Wu Dongnan. What kind of expert was this? This person was not a martial artist, and this was not internal force. This was truly a demon, and the kind that Instructor Hong didn't want to offend even if he was beaten to death. Who dares to steal my wife? Ning Fan lightly said, but it was as if there were countless thunders exploding in the master's ears, causing them to prostrate on the ground. As for Wu Dongnan, he didn't care about the hatred of Instructor Hong and Immortal Master Zhuge. He only stared at Ning Fan in disbelief. Wu Dongnan had seen this appearance before, but before this he never would have thought that Ning Fan was that person. The owner of this appearance appeared in Wu Dongnan's dreams day and night. In that dream, Wu Dongnan was an immortal that could fly in the sky and travel underground, but every time, he would be easily killed by this person. Mustn't provoke this person. If he knew that Jihe was stolen by this person, even if he had 10,000 guts, he still wouldn't dare to offend this person. So what if he was wealthy? So what if he was a scholar? Wu Dongnan believed that even if the one who wanted to steal Jihe was Yuang, he Ning Fan would still dare to walk on a path of blood and kill his way into Yuang Palace to take away his beloved woman. I beg, revered Ning, spare my life. Wu Dongnan knelt on the ground and desperately kowtowed, using the way he called Ning Fan in his dreams to call out, revered Ning. In this life, I don't want to see you again, scram. Inside the private school, the purple-robed young man who was teaching revealed a look of approval. This child is ruthless and bloodthirsty. This is not a bad thing, but if he only knows how to kill, then it will be hard for him to go far on the path of immortality. This child wants to spend more time with mother, so he didn't kill and didn't destroy the atmosphere of this illusion. This emperor likes filial children. It has already been 97 days. It is time to teach him a Tao enlightenment. Wu Dongnan left with a dejected face, and the matter of Ning village gradually calmed down. Ning Fan rode the ox home, and the smell of food wafted out from his house. Mother, Jihe, and me. This was the warmth that Ning Fan dreamed of having. He slowly closed his eyes and revealed a satisfied smile. Even though he knew that everything in front of him was an illusion. It was late at night, and the two women were resting. Ning Fan rode the ox out of the village and headed north. There was a mountain in the north. The mountain was not high, but it was only 500 zhang high. A purple-robed young man stood on the peak of the mountain. He stood there as if he could shatter everything in front of him with just a look. Ning Fan jumped down from the ox and patted its head to bid farewell. The ox was reluctant and turned back after a few steps, as if it was unwilling to leave Ning Fan, but Ning Fan stopped it. His figure turned into purple smoke and appeared on the peak of the mountain. He stood one step behind the purple-robed young man and cupped his fists. Junior Ning Fan greets Immortal Emperor Zido. At this moment, the eyes of the purple-robed young man had a disdainful aura. He was on the mountain, so he was no longer a teacher in the mortal world, but an immortal emperor. You and I are fated. You have passed the test set by this emperor and can obtain a Tao enlightenment. But before this Tao enlightenment, this emperor has something to ask you. You used your bravery to scare away the evil thieves. You didn't kill them and left an illusion. Why didn't you spend more time with mother and wife, but came to find this emperor in a hurry? I need cultivation base so that I can reunite with them in the real world. This answer is barely satisfactory. With your current cultivation base, You are far from being able to see through the truth and void. You can't be blamed for this. The outside world is real, but this illusion may not necessarily be fake. One day, when you comprehend samsara, you will understand. The purple-robed young man no longer said anything. His figure gradually became faint and eventually turned into purple mist. As soon as the purple mist enveloped him, the 500 zhang tall hill suddenly grew taller. It rose all the way to the sky and reached 70 million zhang. Ningfan's mind was greatly shocked at the height of 70 million zhang. At this moment, be it him in the outside world or himself in the illusion, both of them were at the peak of the mountains. You entered the broken world from the endless sea. Your mind entered the sea of clouds from the broken world. And your Tao heart entered the illusion from the sea of clouds. Can you see through which realm is real and which is fake? The you who diligently pursued knowledge might not be fake. The you who slaughtered in the rain world might not be real. Reality and illusion are decided by a single thought. I will use the power of samsara to create the purple mist. You can carefully comprehend within the purple mist. How much you can comprehend will depend on your fate and fortune. Following Zido's words, traces of purple qi flowed into Ningfan's body like thin streams of water. Ningfan closed his eyes and stood at the peak of 70 million zhang in the heavenly wind. He could not see through samsara because his cultivation base was too weak. He was still at the first step of true cultivation. However, the immortal sovereign claimed that he was at the fourth step. The true immortals of the four heavens should be at the second step. In other words, the reason why true immortals could not even look up to the immortal sovereign was because they had yet to reach the third step, let alone the fourth step. This was a great opportunity given to him by the strongest expert in the ancient times. He must not waste it. In this purple qi, it was as if he could grasp the true meaning of samsara with just a single step, and display the technique of samsara that even Meng Xuanzi was afraid of. However, there was too much purple qi that flowed out from his fingertips. It was like the fine sand in the Ganges River that he could not hold on to. I have yet to attain the divine transformation realm. Thus, I am still unable to comprehend the power of samsara. However, if I just imitate this purple qi and create a magic technique, it might not be impossible. Even if I can only imitate half of its form, this technique would still be tainted with a trace of the power of samsara. When my cultivation base is high enough, I will certainly be able to comprehend samsara with this technique. His eyes flashed with determination. His hands formed a series of hand seals to perform the technique. 98 days, 99 days. Days passed. Ningfan had already stood on this 70 million zhang peak for 247 days. On the 248th day, he opened his eyes and formed a series of hand seals. The purple qi around him shattered like glass and turned into crystal dust. Each and every grain of the crystalline dust was violet gold, and they looked like smoke or sand blown by the wind. Ningfan did not comprehend the true meaning of samsara, but he managed to create a magic technique with the power of samsara. He opened his eyes and turned around in a daze. He looked at Meng Xuanzi's direction and changed his hand seals. At this moment, Meng Xuanzi's face was filled with shock. 248 days. This young man actually stayed in the illusory realm for a total of 248 days. Moreover, judging from his gaze and the hand seals he made, it seemed like this young man had also comprehended a magic technique. It would be fine if it was just a magic technique. However, the grade of this magic technique could not be seen. No grade? There is only one reason why this technique has no grade. It's because the power involved in this technique is too strong. It can't be displayed through the grade. Currently, his cultivation base has yet to reach the divine transformation realm. Therefore, this technique is only at the mid-grade divine transformation realm. However, if he breaks through to the void refinement realm, this technique will become an void technique. If he becomes an immortal, this technique can be improved step by step and become an immortal technique. It's not that it has no grade. It's just that the grade of this technique is too high and I can't comprehend it all at once. Meng Xuanzi's eyes turned solemn. The magic technique that Ningfan comprehended was not complete at all. It had a lot of flaws. With his current cultivation base, He could only display the might of a mid-grade divine transformation realm technique. However, the power involved in this technique was troublesome for Meng Xuanzi, who was an immortal emperor. As Ning Fan formed another series of hand seals, his eyes gradually turned purple gold. As he formed another series of hand seals, traces of the power of samsara transformed into a purple gold sandstorm that blew across heaven and earth like a gust of wind. However, all the rocks and plants that were drawn into the purple gold sandstorm were withering and dying at an unimaginable speed. I don't understand samsara. However, I can understand the feeling of time rushing by. Reaching the void fragmentation realm for 100 years feels like a huge rock pressing on my body. That kind of pressure makes me unable to move. Time and youth. I can understand it a little. He took a deep breath and became completely absorbed in his own thoughts. He continued to perfect the third type of magic technique that he had comprehended. The 9 steps of heaven treading and the Black Tempest spirit splitting technique. Each of them was his strongest trump card. This type of magic technique must be stronger. It was because it was the enlightenment that was given by the immortal sovereign. What is the meaning of time? What is the meaning of youth? Elegance is like a finger of quicksand. Age is a period of time. This technique can dissolve time, causing all living things to age and decay. Its name is Purple Technique, Wind Mist. He wanted all his enemies to age and turn into dust in the wind and smoke of his finger. Ning Fan pointed his finger at Meng Xuanzi. The purple gold sandstorm rolled towards Meng Xuanzi. Meng Xuanzi's expression changed. He bent his finger and a ray of green light turned into a gust of wind, trying to neutralize the purple gold sandstorm. Even though it was just a gust of wind, it was more than enough to neutralize a high-grade realm magic technique. However, when the gust of wind collided with the purple gold sandstorm, it could not stop the purple smoke at all. Instead, it weakened and melted in the wind mist. Nothing in the world could escape from aging, not even wind. When the purple gold sandstorm enveloped Meng Xuanzi, he was naturally unharmed with the strength of his immortal body. However, even though he was unharmed, Meng Xuanzi could clearly feel that his physical body had aged a little and his life force had been taken away. With just a touch, a mere mid-level transcendent level technique had actually injured him? Even though it was just a little, it was already too absurd. If Meng Xuanzi's senses were not wrong, the power that took away his life force was related to the power of samsara, even though it seemed like it was right, but it was actually not. This young man has really comprehended a trace of the power of samsara. If this young man also has the cultivation base of an immortal emperor, this finger of wind mist is enough to defeat me. The third step of mortal severance had ended. Ning Fan's eyes became completely clear and he smiled bitterly. He actually attacked Meng Xuanzi when he was comprehending the magic technique. Fortunately, Meng Xuanzi did not seem to blame him. Inwardly, he was secretly delighted with the power of this technique. After displaying this magic technique, Ning Fan was confident that he could kill a mid-divine transformation realm cultivator with a single finger. He even had a chance to kill a late divine transformation realm cultivator and turn them into ashes in the wind mist. After 248 days, his magic power had increased by 2480 units, making a total of 3,495 units. Moreover, after comprehending the technique, he was almost at the divine transformation realm, and only needed to carve his name on the Dao tablet. Thank you, Mr. Zido. Ning Fan cupped his fists towards the purple mist in the distance. The immortal sovereign should be dead. The master-disciple relationship in the illusory realm should only be the inheritance of the magic technique. That was a power that he could not understand. However, there was finally one day when he could understand it, and see through the true void and understand samsara. Young man, are you interested in ascending to my void world and join my Palm Tablet Palace? It was Meng Xuanzi's first time taking the initiative to take someone as his disciple. I already have a master. Is that so? That's really a pity. Meng Xuanzi shook his head and sighed. With his status, it was enough for him to take the initiative to speak once. It was impossible for him to say the same thing twice and force the other party to become his disciple. Without saying anything else, he waved his sleeve. Heaven and earth trembled, and he brought Ning Fan to the bottom of the 3 Dao divine steels. Since it was the divine transformation realm using demonic power, he naturally had to carve the demon steels. This is the condense qi into a brush technique. By carving your name like this, you will receive the blessing of luck. Meng Xuanzi waved his sleeve and a jade slip appeared in front of Ning Fan. He took it into his hand and pressed it on his glabella. In an instant, he already knew the technique of condensing his name into a brush. His luck was already buffed by the reincarnation cycle, so he didn't need this technique. Moreover, under the black color, there was a shocking purple luck. It was a first-class luck. If Ning Fan was willing, he could carve his name in purple. However, he was afraid that the secret of his change in luck would be known by the true immortal who schemed against him. The loss would outweigh the gain. Condense. Ning Fan flicked his sleeve and condensed a golden brush. Holding it in his hand, he took a step forward and stood under the demon steels. He raised his hand and the brush fell. The name written in black was Ning Fan. Black. Meng Xuanzi was slightly surprised. Then he shook his head and chuckled. If an ordinary person has a black luck, he would certainly have no hope of becoming an immortal. However, you are different. Your innate potential is truly monstrous. Even if you have a black luck, I'm afraid you would still be able to ascend to the immortal realm. I will wait for the day you become an immortal in the Black Tortoise Star. Go. Quickly return to the lower world, and try your best to attain the divine transformation realm. Meng Xuanzi flicked his sleeve and sent Ning Fan's consciousness back to the lower world. However, just as he flicked his sleeve, he took out another item and gave it to Ning Fan. Take this item as a sign of good karma between you and me. At the bottom of the dragon pond, Ning Fan had been sleeping for 11 years. The bored black dragon was capturing dark beasts to devour and refine them. He had already pinched his nose and eaten the rotten corpse of the royal black dragon. During these 11 years, he had almost eaten all the dark beasts in the pond. His strength was almost at the half-step void refinement realm. However, there was one thing that was unfortunate. When he devoured the royal blood, he had a chance to awaken his royal blood again. Unfortunately, there was a barrier that prevented him from doing so. There was still a large ball of pure demon blood from the dark beasts in his body. After the black dragon stripped away the poison and refined it for 11 years, it condensed into a fist-sized ball of faint golden blood. Once he completely refines this ball of blood, he was confident that he could truly attain the half-step void refinement realm. At that time, even though his qi was weak and he did not have the royal blood nor the body of a demon, he would still be a half-step void refinement realm expert, wouldn't he? He might be weak at the same level, but his chances of winning against a peak divine transformation realm expert were not small. The half-step void refinement realm was a whole realm higher than Ning Fan, who was at the half-step divine transformation realm. Once I attain the half-step void refinement realm, it will be time for me to break free from the demon restriction. The black dragon sneered. Once he breaks free from the demon restriction, he would be free and he would no longer be afraid of Ning Fan. With my half-step void refinement realm strength in the future, I will surely crush this malefic star, crush him, trample on him and ravage him. Malefic star, just you wait. When your grandpa Heya refines the demon restriction, I will come and eat you. The black dragon grinned ferociously. However, at the next moment, his expression turned into one of disbelief. Ning Fan, who had been sitting cross-legged at the bottom of the pond for a long time, was now sitting on top of countless skeletons. At this moment, his aura force rose steadily and a wave of aura force that the black dragon could not resist rushed towards him. The aura force of the half-step void refinement realm, and even a trace of true immortal realm aura force made the black dragon tremble in fear. This malefic star has successfully attained the divine transformation realm. How can it be so coincidental? Besides, his aura force is just at the divine transformation realm. How did it reach the half-step void refinement realm? Just the aura force alone made the black dragon feel pain in his body, and his qi became chaotic. The black dragon's eyes were filled with astonishment. At this moment, Ning Fan's aura force fluctuated and he rose to his feet. He kept the item that Meng Xuanzi gave him, and stared at the black dragon with cold eyes. Do you want to crush me, trample on me and ravage me? Demon power, 14,750 units. Magic power, 3,495 units. Divine will, mid-divine transformation realm. Ningfan stared at the black dragon coldly and activated the restrictive spell. Immediately, the black dragon was in so much pain that he fell down and wailed in agony. All of his arrogance had turned into begging for mercy. Master, spare my life. Spare me. I'm just joking. Are you joking? Ningfan harumphed coldly. He bent his palm and summoned the huge black dragon to his front. His eyes lit up. This black dragon's aptitude was indeed not bad. After devouring the dark beasts and the royal dragon corpses, his cultivation level had reached the peak stage of the soul formation realm. He had even almost awakened his royal bloodline. However, there seemed to be a barrier that prevented him from breaking through. Otherwise, his battle power would have increased tremendously. In his body, there was a lump of dark beast blood essence that had yet to be completely devoured. If he devoured it himself, not only would he be able to increase his demonic strength, but he would also be able to stabilize his early divine solidification realm. It was rare to see such a great supplement. Give me the blood essence of the dark beast, Ningfan commanded coldly. What? You want to snatch my things? A mournful expression appeared on the black dragon's face. Before it could resist, it cried out in pain. Once the demon restriction was activated, the blood essence would probably be lost. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.